Boom, bang, bam, turducken. I'll take John Madden all day long. I feel great about that. I don't know if anybody's ever said anything nicer about my broadcasting in my entire life.
Chris is in right now. He's like, damn it. It wasn't supposed to be a compliment.
It was. John Madden, you kidding me? Coming out with a video game next, Slee. All I got to do is get the Raiders job at some point in my life.
Yeah.
And by the way, it doesn't seem totally out of the question. I'll be good to go.
You'd be really good on the cover of World Cup 2022.
Oh, can I tell you what just happened to me a few minutes ago?
Sure.
So, sometimes I like to go for a little walk. Before the show starts, I'll do a little lap around LA Live.
He gets on, just so you know, gets on 9th Street on the 110.
He jogs.
Exits Olympic Boulevard.
No jogging. So I go for my lap, and I'm coming by the other garage, the West garage, right? I'm coming down. There's two guys out there having a smoke break, and I can hear that the World Cup is on somebody's phone.
Can I get a cig?
And they're hanging out, and they're watching the game, Morocco and Spain.
Yep.
And they got it propped up there. And I hung out with two guys smoking cigarettes and watched the PKs in the remainder of the World Cup. It was great.
Power of the World Cup,
They were
guys.
super into it. It kind of got me into it a little bit along the way. And so now I'm basically a soccer expert. I watched it in the garage with a couple of guys burning down some lung darts, and it was a great way to start my day.
Just some quick thoughts. Your thoughts on the upset?
I don't know who won. I know that Spain is out. Morocco won. Yeah, huge
What
upset.
about a celebration?
That's awesome. He said, I don't know who won.
I remembered. I couldn't, I was off the top of my head, it had been a baseball or football game, but I think I had to kind of reverse engineer it. I knew that Spain had lost, and it took me a minute. I don't like that Morocco is M-A-R. I feel like they should be M-O-R.
100%. By the way, it's the first thing I noticed this morning. I just had it on the background. I put it on. I'm like, who the hell's M-A-R?
Yeah,
It looks just like Portugal,
Morocco.
too.
What's that, Emily?
The uniforms for Morocco
they do.
looks just like Portugal, too.
And-
So I
Well,
was
green and red, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
annoying.
Spain jersey.
Blue?
Have you ever seen them? They look like Argentina out there.
Spain is yellow and red. Like the Spanish flag is yellow and red. I feel like their uniform should be yellow and red.
This is the official post-game show.
It was exciting. I guess the Moroccan goalie, was doing
Killing
some
it.
work.
Yeah.
He did a good job. How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Just kind of, what do we got here? So, are you a fan of these? I'm a fan of them, but I'm curious if a lot of just Laker fans are the same. Do you like 4:30 tip-offs? Is it for us? We're working it. So for us, it's like the earlier the better.
You threw me off. You went to the late. I did not know. I had to couldn't figure out which 4:30 start you're talking about. I just reversed engineered. The Lakers start at 4:30 today.
Lakers start at
Got it.
4:30. I love these early games, but I don't know if people like them because they're still at work till 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
6 o'clock or whatever the case is. Is that just a selfish thing that I know that I get to start a little bit earlier?
No, that's entirely selfish. The East Coast games that start at 4:30 are all right. You get to see the second half by the time that you're home, but I like to have something
one
to
today,
Sometimes
one
that's all you
tomorrow.
want to see too, the second half of a game.
Perhaps, but I like to
6
close the
o'clock,
night.
second half.
I like to close the night with something, right? It gets to be about 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's winding down. Game ends. Oh, that was fun. You call it a night, and if the game ends at, 6:30,
Dodgers in
6:45?
Philadelphia.
Something
What are
like
those
that.
usually?
It's at 4.
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock. Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm okay with 6 when they play in Arizona.
Got the whole night after.
Nah, I don't need the whole night. I go to
Game's
bed at
done
10
at
o'clock.
7.
It's perfect. Get home, hang out with the family a little bit, and watch the Lakers or the Dodgers or wherever they are, and then
Don't talk to me. We're in Philly today.
No, I don't. It feels. I don't know. The sun's out. It's weird.
Al
It
wants to
doesn't
close
feel
down
right.
a donut shop. That's what he wants to do tonight. He wants to go to every store and go right before closing.
8:58. It's the key time right there. 8:58.
Yeah, I like them on at night. I don't mind a matinee. Like if it's purposefully early at 12:30 or 1, great. Love that game. But because it's not late or early. It's neither. It's 4 o'clock, 4:30. It's not late. It's not early. It's just kind of in no man's land.
You're probably right on this, that if I wasn't working here, Lakers had a game, it's like 4:30. How the hell do I watch this game?
Yeah, no.
However, 7:30s have all of a sudden become like the latest tip-off in the history of
Getting old, Slee.
other games.
You're breaking down. You can't stay up late at night anymore.
Other games, you have a game, I don't know, use the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Rockets. It's starting like 8 or 8:30 there. I'm like, why is everybody still out? Everybody go home.
The Cam brothers used to make fun of me when we used to do Lakers postgame, and we'd, especially this time of year when people are ice skating and things like that. Like, It's Wednesday night. Why are people out at 11 o'clock? That seems irresponsible. I feel like everybody needs to shut it down and be behind closed doors by at least 9:30. That seems about
Every
right to me.
Friday game that you do, and you're walking out of here like 11, 11:30, whatever it is, depending on the tip-off, Congo room. We got that back door open.
Yeah. Loud.
Everything is just shaking. I'm like, good night, guys.
Yeah, no,
Good night, everybody.
I'm glad it's you. It's not me. Had we switched positions and I had to do the 7:30 games, which I've done before, I would feel a little differently. But
They're
for
fine.
my own personal viewing habits,
fine.
That's fine.
You got a Thursday night coming up.
I do.
By the way,
Raiders, Rams.
That means you have a Sunday to yourself. You have a
Not
Saturday,
no.
Sunday.
You would think that would be true, but that's not how it works at all. I will be in Palm Springs this weekend.
Okay,
weekend.
sounds like a good.
Yes, Emily. Yes.
Is it
High school baseball tournament?
Do you hate is too strong of a word, but is it just kind of inconvenient because your whole weekend is gone, or no? You like the full slate of it.
You know how much I like going to those games. They're arguably my favorite thing in the world.
But
to
is
do.
tournament different?
It's just a long way. I got to stay in a hotel. I don't get to sleep in my own bed.
Yeah.
I got to drive. That traffic coming in and out of Palm Springs is awful. So, look, there are a lot of good baseball teams here in the general L.A. Orange County area. I feel like we could play them here.
Why you guys
I
leave in
don't
2
feel
hours?
like I need to travel.
So, do you leave on Friday or you leave on Saturday?
Right after our show on Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 5:30 game in Palm Springs that I will be attending.
So we're in Yorba Belinda on Friday.
Yep.
That helps you, right? Makes it a lot.
It's
no?
about the same.
About the same?
It might help me by 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not by a ton. And it's Friday afternoon going to Palm Springs.
If I hit traffic in Yorba Belinda back to downtown, I'm going to start the pregame show on my phone.
That's right. You're cutting it a little bit
You got
close.
a tight one.
You're cutting it a little bit close. I like that. All right, so I have a story for you guys. Susan and Michael and I went
Never
to
heard of
dinner
them.
last night. Oh, by the way, we went to the Habit, and we're sitting in there, we're eating our food, and some guy comes over and says, "Hey, I just want to tell you, I love listening to your show every day." I'm like, "Awesome!" It goes. We met once before. Chris from Santor's, who's another wing place. Like we obviously have the same tastes in food, but Chris, thank you for saying that. Appreciate you giving us a little love. So after dinner, we remember I said Michael's car had been smoking. Car's smoking. So finally got it fixed.
He told you 3 weeks later.
Finally get it fixed, and it's time to pick it up last night. So Susan, Michael, and myself are in the car headed to the garage to pick up his car. And Michael says, "Well, I'll drive my car back." And Susan asks, "Do you want me to go with you?" And he goes, "No, because you'll mess with the aux." Okay. Do you know what that is, Slee?
I'm assuming
The only reason I know is because I've heard him say it a million times. I would have no idea what
the
it is.
aux is.
You don't know what it is?
No, I said, how do you guys not know what the aux is?
Do you know what it is, Al?
something I'm assuming here with the car player stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically right.
It's who controls. So the aux is the way in which music is like through the car, and whomever has the aux is who is in charge of the music.
Basically,
in
you
the
have
car
the
ride.
remote control watching TV.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you, very well said. So Mike goes, "No, you can't have the aux," and Susan's like, well, "What's the big deal?" She goes, "It's because you listen to Pandora."
I mean,
And my ears go, bing, like, okay, I'm all in right now. And Susan says to Michael, "I love Pandora. What's the big deal about Pandora?" And I'm instantly transported to the show where
Susan has been such a good person for so long.
Susan is Slee,
Yep.
and Michael is Emily, and they're having this passionate argument about which platform to stream music. I'm like, who gives a damn? But both of you guys are both out of your minds. I don't understand this at all.
That's good.
And Michael, Emily, you'll love this. She's like, "You don't even get to choose the music. There are commercials. It does, Apple Music's way better. Spotify's way better. I don't understand why Pandora sucks." And then he says, "I don't even know one person that uses Pandora other than you." I'm like, I do. I know one other person that uses Pandora. Sliwa does.
Still pays for the free, or it still pays for the service.
so but you upgrade. Susan, was she totally free Pandora? I'm
Yes.
assuming because she has commercials.
So she got.
you upgrade.
She got probably 13 commercials every other song.
Goodness.
But I'm like, what is happening? I thought I left this at work. I don't know why my son and my wife are arguing.
Well, here's the difference, and Michael is going to be very much Emily in this one. Michael gets upset about
he
it.
was so fired up.
Susan probably doesn't care.
She was more confused as to his
Like,
level
why
of
it's an issue?
passion. Keep in mind, he's a 17-year-old. Okay, he's a 17-year-old high school student.
Yep.
By definition, they don't speak. Okay, if you get a couple of grunts and nods out of him, it's a pretty good day.
So something must have happened
He got
for him.
super animated at how much he disliked her streaming platform of choice, just like Emily did when she found out.
But Pandora users don't hate Spotify or Apple Music.
Doesn't
It's
seem
just
like
the
it.
other way
We're-
around.
It's one
But
way.
Could I tell you
Yeah.
something? A lot of those and those Pandora, those 14 people that are out there right now driving in their car who have Pandora, we're all love. We're all love. You know what I mean?
Peaceful
But the thing
people.
is, okay,
Peaceful people.
Alan, you
We would
have
have thrived at
You don't even get
Woodstock.
to pick what you want to listen to. You can't pick. It just goes all over. You don't even know what you're getting. And Susan says, "That's what I like. It's like the radio. It comes on and I
Listen to
get
the
what I
radio.
get."
I don't know what's coming up next. I don't know what's
Okay,
coming up next.
Alan, you
Yeah.
have Spotify on your phone though, right? So
I do have Spotify on my
so
phone.
why have both apps? Just do one.
Yeah,
one.
Sliwa. What's the matter?
And also,
with you?
okay, wait, Travis, is Michael an Apple Music person or is he a Spotify person?
Apple Music.
Okay, I was gonna say because a lot of like the younger people, like younger than me, are Apple.
Yes.
I'm Spotify because they kind of got us in college with this like student deal with you get Hulu and Spotify together, all that good stuff. So like it kind of hooked my generation. But Apple Music does have better quality of sound coming out from the app, which is why like younger people like to use it. But I'm also anti Apple Music. But I'm very much a Spotify.
I'm gonna
No, no,
really,
this
I'm
one
gonna-
I get.
I'm
This
gonna
one I
really
understand.
I'm
regret.
Apple
I
Mu-
draw the line
there.
at Apple Music personally.
It's more like I think that Spotify is superior, and it only just because it's what I use, and it's because I like getting my Spotify Wrapped. I like the special
If
Spotify.
I could
You like
download-
the
if I-
frequent flyer component of it,
If
right?
I could
Yeah.
download Napster today, I would.
Oh my gosh!
If I
And-
could. I just
and
can't.
There are plenty of podcasts that are Spotify specific, like your guy, but also there's other things other than him that are Spotify specific, and it's just I don't know. It's just Spotify's better.
If Michael
not
had a more feminine voice, this would have been what was coming out of his mouth last night.
Pandora doesn't even have any podcasts. Okay, so Alan,
So I don't use Pandora for podcasts.
Susan
I use
was-
That's
YouTube.
what. Oh.
I use YouTube.
Why do you use
Because
YouTube for
YouTube-
podcasts?
This is unbelievable.
It's an audio medium.
YouTube has everything on there. YouTube has their own music as well. You can get all the artists that you're talking about.
That's true.
YouTube will do podcasts they'll take a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast. So I don't have to listen to 3 hours. I can listen to 13 minutes of it because it's a specific topic that I like, and then I move on.
Glad I brought it up.
But then it's like
You do
so
understand
you
something,
drive
Emily.
with your video going
Emily.
at the same time.
Yes,
God.
yes, definitely drive my. But I'm not. I don't have to look at the video.
But
It
you-
is a podcast. So I'm
you
just
can
listening
also
to it.
Get it on your.
What if I don't want 2.5 hours of a podcast?
Yeah.
What if
Emily,
I want
what about
10
that?
minutes of a
Or you
podcast?
go
What about
to
that?
the section of the podcast that you want.
While
Yeah,
I'm
Slee,
driving,
what
now
about
I'm
that?
supposed to forward and rewind.
Yeah. What
Not
about that,
happening.
Slee? What
Not
about that,
happening.
Emily?
On YouTube, you can have people curate the part of the podcast you want to listen to. Of
course.
Yeah.
Okay, there's also these things. So Spotify also does like daily drive and other things that you can
Spotify
like,
is
have,
garbage,
that
Emily.
you can also click off part of the podcast that you want. So there's like channels for things like
Here's
Joe Rogan.
the best thing is, I care so little
That's why it's
that listening to it is I don't even know what to do with the information.
It's
I don't
always
know
the
what to do with
Spotify
it.
listeners that attack every other platform.
But I don't even understand. I didn't
Taylor,
even know there was an angle that there was a platform out there that everyone's against all the other platforms.
I'll give you
It's
Michael's
Spotify.
number and he'll explain it to you because he's Team Emily in this one. He was horrified at the Pandora selection.
And Taylor, you don't. Apple Podcasts is the worst version of podcasts too. So like, if you have Apple Music, you also have to get something else for podcasting. So when you have Spotify,
Well, I don't listen to
you have-
podcasts.
you have
I use Apple
audiobooks,
Music because I know what I want to listen to. Spotify is for people that don't know what they want to listen to.
and that's
Yeah,
Emily.
Emily.
Okay, but it's
I
like
will never get rid of Pandora
Spotify
now.
has
Ever.
You're going to
audiobooks,
buy stock.
It has audiobooks. It has podcasts. It has.
Emily, are you
music.
like a stakeholder in Spotify or
If
something?
I could get the Pandora app again, I would. I want it on twice. Is that possible or no?
Here's an explanation. Dan Peralta in the Travis Lee community just tweeted, let me try this. Spotify is the Dodgers, Pandora is the Angels. That is his art. Taylor, you seem to be the most is that a fair comparison?
And then Astros
Which-
are Apple Music
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
actually win.
So does that mean Spotify?
I've used Pandora before.
That means
I found a
Spotify has
way
been
for it.
disappointing for 10 years in a row. And Angels, you just expect them to be bad.
Nine out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Not 10
9
in a
out of 10.
row. Glad I brought it up. That argument that just took place in the car from the Habit
Here's
to
the
the
funny
garage.
thing.
Michael was horrified.
There is no argument. If somebody
Yes, there
likes
is.
a platform that's working for them,
Well, apparently you're wrong, Alan.
enjoy that platform.
You're wasting your time, Alan. You're wasting your time and you're wasting your space
Everybody
on your phone.
needs to be on one platform.
The things you like are ugly and wrong.
I'm just trying to save you space on your phone, your company phone that you stole. I'm just kidding. You didn't steal it. But, you're giving it to me.
That's awesome.
But just saying.
I told you. I told Emily this morning. I'm like, something happened to me last night that I think you're going to be interested in. It was just short of me taking notes in the car. Like, can someone else drive while I write some of this down? You don't
Never
even
been.
get to pick what you listen to.
Never
Then
been more passionate.
What did it come down to?
about
Like, what did you guys
Pandora.
listen on?
I drove my own car home. And Susan came with me. Michael had the aux all to himself.
good.
I don't know. I'm assuming
Drove in
Apple
silence?
You
Music.
drove in silence. Yep.
I think we did. We
Probably.
did.
There's
Had
a
a nice
good chance.
conversation.
There's a good chance you
we
did.
had a night. We've been to the Habit. It was a wonderful, wonderful day. Keep listening all day long. Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl is coming up on December 17th. Fresno State, Washington State, your chance to win some sweet tickets to that one. The Lakers can guarantee themselves a 500 trip. Who thought they were going to be able to say that after 3 games? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
occasionally I might buy a CD, and when I say occasionally, I mean like maybe once a year. That was about
Then
it.
then they started coming out and like using people as examples. Hey, this guy downloaded. He's in jail now.
That
like,
can't possibly be true.
In my head, I'm like, the FBI's coming after a Weezer song? Come on, guys.
Yeah, man.
Also, FYI, anybody who on Twitter tries to tweet me and talk about and try to convince me otherwise of why they deserve to use Pandora, I'm going to respond with you with all caps.
Blocked.
Yeah, I might block you. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to block you, but I will respond with all caps, and you will not convince me otherwise.
I don't think they're trying to. I think you're trying to convince
it's
them.
fine.
I don't think anybody's trying to tell you that you're making the wrong choice. You're just yelling at everybody else for their Pandora choices. Here's another great example of our
I
listeners.
should give Spotify like a solid week. Like, just use it for a week.
Don't you
and
dare.
see it convinces me at all
Don't
that
you
it's a
dare.
better platform.
No, you gotta dig in
Well,
now.
the Pandora's not going anywhere. That's staying.
Golan's Shahibi says, hey, Trav, just an FYI, Morocco is abbreviated MAR because it's known as Maroc, M-A-R-O-C, in French. So there you go. At least I didn't know
helps.
that we're using the French pronunciations,
I didn't
but at
know
least
either.
that's a good explanation. Thank you for
Last
that,
I checked,
Golan.
this is America.
Well, not there.
I know,
It's Qatar over there. It's on
Sure.
TV here, I guess. I don't know. We'll just go with MAR because it's Maroc in French. See? What else do you want to know?
MAR it
See?
is.
We know things in this world. We know how to do things. 3 o'clock pregame show.
Yes, sir.
Right here on 710 ESPN. 4:30 tip-off. They've got Toronto tonight.
Cavs tonight,
Cavs
Toronto
tonight,
tomorrow.
Toronto tomorrow. I keep getting that backwards. Win tonight, and you got a 3-3 trip. And we were talking before the trip started that 2 wins on this trip, you take it. Well, they've already got that done.
It's not even take it. It's more you thought that was kind of the reality, right? Beat the Wizards, beat the Pistons, and then lose to some quality teams on the road, which is what they've done all season. So it's almost like falls along the line. But you were saying there, you already got 2. You already got 2 right out the gate.
2 out of the gate when you would have taken 2 on the whole trip. I don't know if it changes all that much. If you can get a third one, like Detroit is still waiting for you at the back end of this trip. There's your third one, presumably. I don't want to say I don't care. I mean, you'd want them to win all the games along the way, but this is a win over the Bucks, a win over a Washington team that's not great, but they're okay, and then a third win somewhere along the line. That is a massively successful trip, regardless of what happens tonight or in Toronto or in Philadelphia. You get 3 wins out of these 6 games, one of them against the Bucks, which they've already done. Huge success.
So that's what I don't want to have happen, because the scenario that you're playing out right there means they go 1-3 in their final 4 games. Scenario you're playing out right there means, you say this a lot. You say, okay, well, how did you lose? Or how did you win? I think there's still a lot of unfinished business left on this trip. I'll give you an example. Cavs, Raptors, Philly is your next 3. All 3 of those teams, I want to say Cavs are 15-9. Philly is 12-12. Toronto's 12-12. Okay? So it's not like it's Milwaukee and Boston waiting for you. It's not like it's the top 2 teams in the Western or in the Eastern Conference that are waiting for you. You already got rid of the tough one. And I'm not trying to be, if I'm trying to be greedy on this, I would just say this. You should be able to split these last 4. You should be able to go 2-2 in these last 4. I'm going to go back to the Philadelphia, Toronto. That's not the Milwaukee Bucks. That's not the Boston Celtics. I think you could easily make a case. I'd be disappointed if they came back 3-3 at this point, only because you started out 2-0. You already got the toughest win on the schedule that you had over this 6-game trip. You're building some momentum. Doesn't some of that momentum just stop if you go 1-3 in your final 4 games? I think it's realistic to go 2-2, and I think that should be what they're striving for. That should be what they accomplish. AD is obviously is going to have to continue to be the player that he's been. But at least what you don't have on your schedule, you got the toughest one out of the way. You still have the Pistons in the final one. Grab one between Toronto, Cleveland, and Philly. I don't think is a huge accomplishment.
I think the momentum may stall a little bit in that situation, but it's still a wildly successful trip, in my opinion. Because it demonstrates what you can look like when you play at your best. And that I did not know their ceiling was that. I'm far more optimistic about what we've seen from them in the last couple of days. In particular, against Milwaukee. But I did not think that their ceiling was we can go play against one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league and not just hang, we can beat them. I didn't think they had.
Do you think they?
No. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think they thought that they had that in them.
Yeah.
But that they did. And quite frankly, that they backed it up in D.C. the way that they did. And, obviously the Bucks or the Bullets are not the Bullets. The Wizards are not the Bucks anymore. But it's not a trash team. They're okay. You got to play. And that they showed up and not only won the game, but they blew them out. They absolutely put it on them. I'm more they could turn around the night out and lose by 25 points, and it's not going to really dampen my enthusiasm for what I've seen for the last 2 weeks. About Anthony Davis specifically, about the team more globally. They showed me that their best basketball is pretty good. I didn't think that was true until a week ago.
2-2. Go 2-2 in these Final Four. If you start paying attention now to the standings, you're starting to take a look. I know it's not everything, but you started out 2-10, and to kind of find yourself within a couple of games of 5 or 6 teams, right? Like it's not like
weird.
It's very
They're
weird.
5 out of first place and still in 12th place.
They're sitting 10, 11, 12, 13th place.
13th place.
13th place. They've won 8 of 10. And, you look up above you, the Warriors have 12 losses, the Lakers have 12 losses. The Jazz have 12 losses, the Lakers have 12. Minnesota's got 12. Like I said, it's now granted those teams have more wins than the Lakers. They're in this mix here where Philly, Toronto, Cleveland, I think you could grab one win of those 3 games, go take care of business against the Pistons. You come back and you're at crypto 12 and what would that be? 12 and 14 with the Boston Celtics waiting for you. Boston and Denver.
As long as we're not talking in February like, hey, whatever happened in Milwaukee, why did we never see that again? That's fine. As long as it's not that, as long as it's not they played good for a weekend and it never looked good again, that would be a problem.
All right, during this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of Americans fallen or disabled military and first responders. Event is taking place this Friday at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and purchase a green fee, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Special thanks to our partners, Johnny O, Meat District, and Travis Matthew.
All right, so Anthony Davis has been playing out of his mind for the last few weeks or so. So when is this the new normal? When do we start thinking of him as one of the best players in the NBA for good? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Did you step out during the break, or were you in here the whole time?
No, I was here.
Okay. Did you see that Emily has now started to collect co-constituents in her case against you?
Okay.
Yeah, I've got 4 people on the other side of the building I've already talked to. They're going to come in at
Who you got?
so many
Because
people.
she really does have people.
So many people.
She's lining them up. You're telling a story. She
Yep.
really has co-defendants.
Just FYI, Pandora stock right now, you can get it at $19. Just a heads up on that.
Spotify.
With Spotify's, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's overpriced.
You going to change your tune?
What about apples? I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
Apple's probably doing all right.
They're doing. They might make it.
So how did you go about finding these people, Emily? Did you put a sign-up sheet in the kitchen? What did you do to find your folks?
I just looked at people that seem like they're smart and that they know what they're doing and that they are,
So basically,
of
Taylor,
the
we're
world,
both idiots. We're both
that
idiots.
know how to both maximize.
I don't know how to listen to music, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, not
you
just
don't
music, podcasts.
deserve to use it the way that you like to use it.
Yeah, just don't worry. My co-defendants will come in and state their case. a little
Spotify is
later on.
$75. Talk about overpriced.
Yeah, start shortening it. It's gonna come down. You're gonna make a
We're
killing.
like the
along way.
Applebee's of music streams.
I'm trying to think if there's anything, Emily, that you have been more fired up about than this.
I got a couple.
Nugget sauces
Yep.
are certainly
Yep.
on the list.
Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know. I think this is on top of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron
Give me a
Rodgers.
go
is-
on Aaron Rodgers.
There are some individuals
I hope
that
Aaron
she
Rod-
gets fired
I
up
hope
about.
Aaron Rodgers uses
Pandora.
Okay.
Oh, it'd be
Hope so.
amazing. Just amazing.
I mean,
Hi, this is Aaron Rodgers for Pandora.
he definitely uses Spotify because his bud is on Spotify. So, Joe Rogan.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
they're best-
right.
They're best buds.
She came. I came in this morning. I'm so done with Tom Brady.
I
Well, he
am.
won another football game. I mean, I don't
No,
know if
it's
that's what
just
he's
like,
paid to
I'm
do.
I don't
just
understand
so
the
over
anger.
this whole thing of like, oh my god, he wins another game.
Oh my God,
Okay,
he
the reason
comes
why
back,
he has to
puts
have
2
this game-winning
touchdowns
drive
up.
is because he was losing. Like, I'm over.
Yeah, but he didn't. He won the game.
I get that. I am over. I
Basically
wish
at
Tom
the
Brady
buzzer.
would have retired this offseason because just his whole storyline just drives me up a wall about him. But
like-
whatever,
look-
he's the GOAT.
I'm team
Fine.
hating things. I love to hate things. Like it's one of my favorite things to do is to hate on other things. But
Yeah.
I'm with you on Aaron Rodgers. I'm with you on Russell Wilson. Brady, I'm
it's-
trending in your direction.
It's because Brady, I mean, being a Steelers fan, Brady, owned the Steelers for a long period of
He
time.
owned everybody.
He owned everybody. And so, but seeing him more often than maybe a Rams fan would is really annoying. So,
Tom Rinaldi's back in Qatar, Slee. He just popped up on the TV in here. Do you hate him, Emily?
no, Tom's great. Tom's got a great voice, great storytelling, tells me sad stories.
He's going to cover rugby in Australia like right after this match.
Okay. Is he not closer to Australia than he is to the United
yeah.
States?
Yeah.
I'm trying to visualize a globe
Or-
here, about halfway in between.
Yeah, I was going
maybe
to say kind of
kind of close. Like where the farthest part from where he is maybe like the west coast of the United States. Is that about the farthest way he could go?
maybe.
Yeah, because if you're going to Alaska, you'd go over the top.
Wait, where did he come when he came back? He went to Dallas and KC?
And then Ohio for
and
the Ohio
Ohio.
Oh, that's
State
right.
Yeah.
game against
Yeah.
Michigan.
Should have gone to see like a Kraken game in Seattle or something, just to mix it up, get up to the Pacific Northwest.
know what, I
I think he had 6 connecting flights. He was Southwest, American, and then Qatar.
I could also get fired up about Survivor, apparently, because now I'm a huge fan of Survivor. I watched 5 episodes last night. It was
How long is each episode?
an hour?
It's a lot of
Season 1 or what?
No.
It's a lot of
so
time.
The reasoning behind this, and I really like the show White Lotus, and so the creator of White Lotus, Mike White, is on a season of Survivor. So I was like, I think it's funny. I've watched Survivor with my siblings when I'm home for the holidays, and so I was like, let's check out this season. It's called David and Goliath too, so he's on the Goliath side. Anyway, got sucked in. These
Does
people
your brain
are
not
crazy.
like fry 3 seasons in? Mine would fry. I'm done.
3 episodes in?
Or 3 episodes in, I'm like,
No.
my
My brain is-
mind is done.
Two is I've done 2 for a bunch of different things, but once you get beyond that second one,
Can't.
I'm out.
Everything is.
I'm out. Yeah,
It's a good season of
I go straight to
Survivor, though.
Pandora after that.
But I could
Get some music
and
in.
YouTube
just kinda
podcasts.
Oh my god.
Get some music in,
Decompress.
and yeah.
I like it. I need to start paying attention to more things that Emily may really get fired up about. But Pandora thing is my favorite one in quite some time. Anthony Davis, 55 against the I still want to call them the Bullets, the Wizards. He was the player of the week. He's probably been – has he been the best player in the whole league for the last 3 weeks? That's not unfair to say, right? Certainly in the conversation.
If you look at his numbers the last 10 games, it's possible there's another player that's 35 and 17 and
He's
3
been
blocks.
He's been amazing, and it's been fun to talk about because it's unexpected to a point, right? Maybe that he would throw in a 35-point game here and there isn't unexpected, but that he'd keep doing it and throw in a 55-point game, I think is unexpected. That he would go toe-to-toe with Giannis and come out on the better side of it is unexpected. That he has been the best player on a team with LeBron James for 3 weeks is a little bit unexpected because of what we've seen the last couple of years. I still, talking about me right now, still have my foot on the brake. I'm excited for what I see. I like it a lot, but I'm going to need to see more. And we were talking about it this morning. I think I'm going to need not 55 a night, obviously, not even 35 a night, but I'm going to need to see where he's the best player or damn near it on the court every night. We see that for the greater part of a whole season. I think we're right back to talking about him as one of the best players in the league. What about for you? Is it another week, another month? Is it a whole season? When do we all start to just say, hey, it's Jokic, it's Giannis, it's Embiid, it's Davis, and it doesn't feel like it's Davis right now. It's just he's back in the mix.
So this is why I think that conversation's different with AD. I think it's different because let's say you took a player, let me throw out Karl Anthony Towns or DeAndre Ayton or one of those players that they've never been considered one of the best big men in the NBA.
Right.
And they go through a stretch where they have these 10 games where they're 35 and 15. I'm more suspicious because, no one's ever considered you to be the best big man in the NBA. The difference with Anthony Davis, why I give him a much, I don't think I need to see a larger sample size like you're saying, is because AD has been the best big man in the NBA. That
Not
has
for a couple
happened
years.
before. Correct, but he's been there before, and the last time he was there, what was the main difference? Health. So the fact that
is that not still the main difference?
Is that the fact that but that's a different conversation.
Why?
Health is a different conversation than are you the best player in the NBA?
Is it?
I think so. I think you could be a player that's considered one of the best players in the NBA.
Not if you don't play.
Well, I'll finish the point. So let's use as an example Anthony Davis right now. I don't need to see. I know what Anthony Davis' skill set is. I know Anthony Davis. ESPN did a ranking after the Lakers won that championship. He was number 2, second best player in the NBA.
But that was 2 years ago.
But I see I don't need to be sold on his talent.
Well, no, nobody has.
I know the talent,
availability.
But the availability, that's a completely different conversation. The question
Why
then
is it different? I'm not understanding. He doesn't
finish?
play enough.
Can I finish?
Sure.
The conversation with availability is a separate conversation. If he's not available, there is no conversation of. I think right now it's more of a conversation of when he has been available, he hasn't looked like Giannis. He hasn't looked like Joel Embiid. He hasn't looked like Jokic. He hasn't been in those conversations. If he's not available, there is no conversation. If Embiid plays 40 games or Giannis plays 55 games, you just didn't play enough games to be considered the best. What they have done, or at least what Giannis has done, what Jokic has done, they're in there every single night. For me, it's not talent. Talent I know is there. It's the availability. That's fair if you want to just say,
I'm talking. I'll put the whole thing in a bowl together, right? It's available. The talent, you're right, is that's never been the question. The question is, can you get the talent out? Is the talent healthy? And until you're all talent, availability, health, all those things come together, then you're not in the mix.
If the question is, do you think he could play 65 to 70 games this year? That's a fair question for me to say. I don't know. But do I think, can Anthony Davis play at this level? Doesn't have to be the best player in the world, but I think I'm not as
close to that.
He has. I think actually he's been the best player over the last 3 weeks or so. I think talent perspective, I question that less. If you're saying, hey, Al, that's great, put the whole thing together. When's the last time he's played 70 games? That's a different conversation. I feel like that's a much more fair conversation of, I haven't seen him be around for 70 games so that he could be a part of an MVP conversation and that he can put the Lakers in a position where they're a 5th seed or a 6th seed or just in the mix of the Western Conference. If he plays 42 games, is it fair to say where the Lakers are going to be?
Oh, I think we know.
They're not going to be anywhere near the mix.
Hey, did you see? Hopefully no streaming platform questions, Taylor. Make sure that you reconstruct your list if you have any of those in there.
Things that I dislike.
Oh, good. We'll do that then for sure. It's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first. During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Did you happen to see? It's time for Hey, Did You See?
Hey man, did you touch my drum set?
Have you read this? Right now on Travis and Sliwa.
Not that I'm not always excited about Hey Did You See, because I am, but I'm particularly enthusiastic today, Taylor, because I'm going to find out something that you dislike, which I like finding out what other people don't like.
Well, perfect way to start this. Did you hear that Joe Buck on Monday Night Football was sounding kind of drunk last night? And I don't know, I mentioned a few times before, mainly because of his distaste for Randy Moss years ago,
Right.
but I'm not a big Joe Buck fan. I don't know if I'd go as far
the
as...
Moss thing, the disgusting.
It's a
that
disgusting
one?
act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
That,
fake
yes.
mooning the Packers fans.
Relax.
Like, calm down, Joe.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay, so this is Joe last night.
It's week 13, good matchup in the NFC South. It's December. Can you believe it? Already December. Bucks and Saints coming up. There he is, all eyes on 12. He's ready to go. Look, he's going to prove it. Yeah, let's go. I can't say one of those words. Mike Evans, what's going on with that combo with Tom Brady? They better figure that out here down the stretch. There he is, the red rifle, got that beard all tucked into that chin strap, ready to go.
Okay, so if we get this version of Joe Buck in the future, I think you might convert me as a fan.
Yeah.
Are you here for drunk Joe Buck, Travis?
Well, first of all, I'm not stipulating that that's what that was. Here's the thing. I think that I am in the extreme minority with this, especially when you're taking into consideration like the Twitterverse and things like that.
Yeah.
I like Joe Buck.
I don't mind him.
I think he's terrific.
I don't mind him.
think that when you call the World Series 25 years in a row and a bunch of Super Bowls and the U.S. Open and all the other unbelievable things that Joe Buck has done, they give those guys those jobs because they're great at what they do. I think I am a Joe Buck fan, period, sentence, paragraph. That said, that Joe Buck is even better.
It's December.
He's super fired up and feeling it. I like that. If you could find a way to bring a little bit more Gus Johnson to Joe Buck as far as just kind of the over-the-top enthusiasm, I think that would be better. But, yeah, I'm here for that, Buck. It was great.
What makes it unique is that's not him.
Right.
So it's throwing you off. Like the reason why you're playing, or people, I saw it on Twitter yesterday, was posting that video. I think it's because he's not usually that animated. That's not his style. That, for the 20-plus years, or however long he's been calling these unbelievable big-time games, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have one of those. He's kind of more like this. He's kind of more monotone in his style.
Very even.
I think it's I found it entertaining. If he starts dropping a couple nuggets like that a game, I like it.
I wonder, is there genuine speculation that that's what it was, or people just haven't? Because
They're having
just
fun.
for me.
Yeah,
it did sound like he was more enthusiastic than he typically is. I like that.
Here's my
Extra
theory
cup of coffee, maybe?
Here's my theory behind what happened. I think that a producer at ESPN was like, hey, Buck, why don't you, I don't know, spice it up a little bit. Show a little bit more emotion in today's game. And then Buck's like, oh, okay, you're going to tell me
Over
what
the
to
top.
do. And then does that.
That's actually a really good theory, I think. Because you'd have, by the way, to tell Joe, hey, you know what you should do differently? Oh, you're telling me the guy that's done the World Series 38 times? You're going to tell me
Who grew up with this?
10 Super Bowls that I've done, you'd like to tell me how to do this? Oh, sure. What do you got? It could be one of those.
Okay, next up, did you see that LA radio legend and Hall of Famer Mark Thompson from Mark and Brian will be releasing a memoir entitled Don't Bump the Record Kid? So if you were to ever write a memoir, what would the title be, Sliwa? It's a good title.
I used to ask this question for Sorority Rush all the time, and people would be so stumped all the time.
Do you have one?
I'll eat that.
I love it.
What's in it for Trav?
That's another good one. Yeah. What's in it for Travis is good.
Just to bother you from yesterday? Hey, that's my bad.
Yeah, I think I'll eat that. That kind of covers it.
Pandora's Box, Alan Sliwa.
There you go. Not bad. By the way, I'd read that bio that you're talking about. Mark and Brian, I listen to those guys every single morning, all through high school, through college. Like, I was a regular Mark and Brian guy. I would love to read that book.
So while I'm not sure if this would be the name of my title of my memoir, this would definitely be a chapter. It's a funny story from my family, but the chapter title would be Dr. Pepper in the Bushes. So my family that lives really close to me in Virginia, we have like family get-togethers all the time. And one time my aunt was very tired of everybody stealing the Dr. Pepper that she decided to bring to this function. Again, you're bringing this to share.
How many would she bring?
She'd bring like a 12-pack.
Okay.
Whatever. So she, instead, this one night decided to hide the Dr. Pepper in the bushes of our front yard so that no one else would find it. Someone found it. But the theory and the overall arching of this chapter would be don't hide the things closest from you from your family because eventually everything will come out. Like,
not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That's the overarching theory.
I would submit that the Twitter listeners, if they want to give us our telephone calls, 877-710-ESPN.
Throw them in. Yeah.
If you have suggestions for any of the four of us, for yourself, go ahead and send those our way. We'll definitely take those. What about you, Taylor?
I'm not going to write a memoir, so we don't have to worry about that. Next up,
You know what? I got it for you.
Good answer.
Just empty
I like that
just
answer.
quotation marks and a line with nothing in it. The Taylor Smith story.
Like the Beam, the Taylor Swift story.
Light the beam. Thank you, Emily. Next up, did you see that there are still 7,416 print magazines in the U.S.? The magazines with the largest audience are, anybody want to guess?
New Yorker?
People.
People and ESPN, the magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, that still exists.
So aside from those two, what's your favorite magazine of all time, Travis?
Oh, that's easy. It's super boring answer, but again, you got to understand how old I am, the era that I grew up in.
Sporting News?
Sports Illustrated.
I was going to say, I thought 100% you were going to say Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated, I want to say it came on a Tuesday, and once in a while it would be a little late and show up on a Wednesday. It was who's going to be on the cover, what was the feature. There was always a big story in there. I loved Rick Riley, who would always have the column in the back of the magazine. I loved the photography, obviously, was amazing. Sports Illustrated is still, like, even when you see it online, and Sports Illustrated is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But when you see a story slugged SI, it means a little bit something to me. Even now, the SI hasn't been SI for 20 plus years.
Definitely Playboy. No, okay. You know, there's actually one that was so unique and was like everything. It had like the world wrapped around it. Is National Geographic.
Sure.
Unbelievable photos. You would have these people that go to just random places, whether it's like a small village or you're going to see this exclusive mountain that nobody else has seen before. I always thought the National Geographic was
Great photography
great.
in that magazine, too. Real quick, Sports Illustrated, little trivia nugget. I like to throw these in every once in a while. I may have said this before, and you guys might know the answer. Do you know the only 3 athletes to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated in back-to-back weeks are? 3 guys have done it. Any guesses? 2 of them are very obvious.
Muhammad Ali?
Yes, that's one.
Jordan.
Jordan's another one.
Those
Ali,
are the 2
Jordan,
obvious ones.
And there's the other one you
Jeremy
kind of have
Lin?
to know. Jeremy Lin is the correct
Yep.
answer.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeremy Lin is the
Good
correct answer.
freaking pull.
Yeah. Ali, Jordan, and Jeremy Lin. That's how hot Linsanity was for at least 2
How
weeks.
does Jeremy Lin not have that? Wherever he lives, the first thing you walk in, you have all 6 of them, right?
Ali,
You have the 2 Alis, the 2
Jordan.
Jordans, and the 2 Jeremy Lins.
Jeremy Lin. Yeah.
Jeremy
2
Lin.
in a
Nice
row.
to
Not
meet you.
bad. All right. Emily might be presenting her first defendant when we come back. Plus, thought about it a lot yesterday, and the Carlos Correa to the Dodger thing makes more and more sense the more I think about it. That's coming up next. It's Travis Slee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rogers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPNLA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPNLA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
Tuesday. Now, the streaming platform conversation is one that is big apparently in the Rogers household last night, and we know producer Emily's fired up about it. And it went on most of the first hour of the show, which was glorious. But I'd like to play this clip.
Pandora doesn't even have any podcasts. Okay, so Alan,
So I don't use Pandora for podcasts. I use YouTube. I use YouTube.
Why do you use
Because YouTube
for podcasts?
This is unbelievable.
It's an audio medium.
By the way, you can get the show's podcast anytime on the new ESPNLA app, but you could also watch the show streaming live on YouTube, Slee's favorite platform. Watch Travis and Sliwa right now. Just go to YouTube, search ESPNLA. Travis and Sliwa continues your Tuesday right now.
See, this is why you got to keep your eyes and ears open at all times, because you never know where something's going to come from, Al.
Taylor, I got the music from here. I'll just play it off Pandora. Just play it right off Pandora.
Plug straight into the board.
Right into the board.
We never know what we're going to get, which is what you like from Pandora.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of background on how we got to where we are today, where Emily's frothing at the mouth and everybody's fired up about this.
She's got a team of people.
I was in the car with my wife and my 17-year-old son last night, and we got on the subject of where you stream your music from. And my wife, like Slee, listens to Pandora. Emily hates Pandora. My son was, why would you listen to that? Nobody listens to it. It's a stupid app. You can't pick your music. And this, that, and the other thing. And he went full nuclear meltdown the way that Emily has. Well, Emily has now started to recruit people to argue against you. Sophia is joining us here.
What's going on, Sophia?
At 7:10. Good morning. How you feeling today?
Good.
Good. Okay, let's start right here. Are you team Slee or team Emily in this debate?
I'm definitely team Emily. Spotify, I've been using it for so many years now. I was a Pandora user. When I was younger and knew not much about music because I could then just play a channel.
I don't know much about music then.
And then everything just played for me. And I was like, it worked out.
What's the because I definitely have not used Spotify much. What are the big differences if somebody's using Pandora? If I go to Spotify for a week, you think that's it?
Yeah, no, you're going to get hooked.
I don't know if I will.
The reason that I'm also pro Spotify and nowhere near Apple Music is because you can't queue songs in Apple Music. It only lets you play next.
You can
it only lets you play next. You can't build a whole queue.
Yes, you can. You haven't used it then.
It says
it's so
Taylor
much easier
coming
on
strong.
Spotify.
Did not know Taylor was coming in.
You just swipe left on Spotify, and your queue gets really loaded. And then also, if you run out of your queue, and then they create the new stuff next. Again, Taylor's point is correct. It is a good platform for those who want to discover new music and might not know what they want next. Do you agree with that, Sophia?
Yeah, because you also get your daily mixes. If I'm listening to my playlists over and over again, they'll give me a new daily mix every week. And there's songs that I don't know in there, but they're still the type of music that I would play.
Okay, so that's the one thing I'll say about Pandora. I get introduced to a lot of music, and I get introduced to a lot of artists that I don't already know. Spotify, I thought was you're basically putting in the artist, and they're playing the artist for you.
It's a mix. So I think that the best thing about Spotify is they are really good at data collection. So they really get to know
put your social security
really
number in there.
really well.
Your credit card.
Which is
your mother's maiden name.
Wait, Sophia, you like Spotify Wrapped, right? That was a great day.
That's so fun.
You get to know about your friends. You get to know about things.
First off, I think they know music much better than I do.
I've had the same 5 artists.
I don't think I care about music to the extent that they care about.
Let me just ask this quickly, Sophia. Do you have the same level of passion that Emily does for this, or do you just prefer Spotify to the other platforms?
I do get in fights with people about Spotify over Apple Music.
She's fully on the M side.
No, because Apple Music users are completely unhinged. They are
Taylor, I feel like this is your place to jump in.
They are so pro Apple Music that you cannot.
But this is a great example. The only reason why we're having the conversation is because Spotify users are angry at everybody not using Spotify.
So what is that? As long as people are listening to music that a good time is being had by all. I'm happy.
Here's what I've taken.
But if you're gonna attack my platform, I'm gonna fight back.
You're gonna.
No, I don't think that Spotify users are like coming at anyone else. I just think it's so much easier.
Yeah, I don't know
just
about
think
that.
it's so much easier to use Spotify than Apple Music, in my opinion. Like I've had my like friends hand me their phones with Apple Music, and I'm like.
By the way, based on this conversation, Pandora's in the minor leagues. They're not even in. They're not even in the pros.
Sophia, just so we're all on the same page here. You did say that Taylor was an unhinged person who knows nothing about music.
Yeah, look at me.
But Spotify users want no problems.
If I want to get a lead,
You unhinged
the
idiot.
best way to listen to music is
It's
vinyl.
like
Come
swinging
on,
at somebody at a bar, and it's like, well, I have no idea why they were fighting back. Why would they fight back?
But yes, let's all listen to every single piece of music on vinyl in our cars. Everything.
Yeah,
the best music.
Let's
possible.
support the musicians here.
I mean, however you listen to music is great. I just personally think that Spotify is better because I think Pandora is cool. Like, my aunt uses Pandora a lot.
Is she 83 years old?
She's a principal. She's a principal. She's in her 50s.
My Aunt B,
These are my people.
She's got a Victrola that she cranks and she listens to Spotify.
Let her know if she wants commercial free. Let me know. I'll hook her up with a password.
Amazing.
We got some more defendants of different sides of this topic, so we'll bring them in later. Don't worry.
I feel like
The funny thing is, I think you and I probably care the least about all this.
we do.
We have someone on Taylor's side, so don't worry. Someone on Taylor's side is going to come.
At this station.
I don't care at all about any of it. That's why I like it as much as I do, that you guys are as fired at it. If I'm being honest, I don't think you care all that much either, but I do like
I've never loved
passion.
Pandora more.
Good idea, Folder Emily. Ask me about it after the show today. Sophia, thank you.
Thanks, Sophia.
Good to have you on.
Thanks, Sophia.
Taylor, you are an unhinged, know nothing about music.
Look at me.
Board op.
Well, we want no problems.
She said that.
There's my memoir.
I look
Unhinged.
unhinged, know nothing.
By far the most aggressive people on Spotify are those two, but they're completely okay if you listen to something else.
So good. 805 Raider in the Travis Lee community writes, are you going to finish that? That could be the name of my memoir. Yours could be my top 100 Lakers of all time. I don't really finish other people's food. That's not really at home. I do. Like
I was going to say, yeah,
I'll eat the kids'
Susan.
food. But if you and I go out and you have a couple of bites of your
you can't
sandwich
have
left,
that.
I'm not
You
going to
can't have that.
Hey, Al, you going to finish that Reuben? I'll have the last couple bites
That'd
of
be
that.
so weird. That would be so weird.
By the way, how good is a Reuben? Who doesn't?
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
it's
damn
got
good.
Thousand Island dressing. It's got melted cheese. Sometimes you get a little sauerkraut in there. It's crispy, toasted, buttered bread. Who doesn't like that?
I ran into, I think it was on Friday or something like that, Michael Roth downstairs. He's going up, I'm going up. And he goes, yep, just came back from Langer's.
Perfect.
I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That's a good sandwich, too. That's a good
It's
sandwich,
been a while
too.
since I had one of those.
You get the big pastrami sandwich. I believe that's
Number
a 19. That's right. And then they got a good Reuben over there, too. A little corned beef. Just throwing that
Just
out
saying.
there. Just throwing that out there. All right. Dodgers are still kind of sitting free agency out at this. Well, there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of good players left, and we'll see. The shortstop market is going to heat up, especially now that Trey Turner went and did what he did. By the way, Emily pointed out something out yesterday. If you play shortstop for the Dodgers for a little while and play reasonably well, you're going to Machado, $300+ million. Seager, $300 million. Turner, $300 million. Come here for the Dodgers for a few years and play short. You're going to make some money. It's pretty remarkable. They keep saying that they're happy having Gavin Lux as their shortstop. Here's Andrew Friedman at the winter meetings.
With Trey, obviously he was right in the thick of a lot of our success over the last year and a half. Really dynamic, talented player. But we also knew that this was very possible. And, Philly's adding a really good player. But from our standpoint, we feel good about the guys we have in place. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't be opportunistic and things won't line up. But we feel really good that Gavin Lux can be a big part of what we do this year. And whether that's playing second, playing short, we'll see as things unfold here. But, we feel good about not just the guys we have, but also the talent that's on the market right now.
Okay. I get it. He's keeping his cards close to his vest. He's not going to say too much. He's obviously going to say that the guys that he has on his roster right now he's comfortable with because that's what you're supposed to say. I've watched Gavin Lux play shortstop.
Yep.
He's okay. It's not a disaster, but it's certainly not as good as some of the options that are out there right now. I was thinking about it, and here's who's left from that team, the 2017 team that got ripped off. Clayton Kershaw, Chris Taylor, Austin Barnes, and let's throw Dave Roberts in there, too. He was the manager of the team. Justin Turner may or may not come back to the Dodgers. If he comes back, that would make 5 potentially. Here's my question. Guys, I hate the idea of what happened to the Dodgers. Those Astros players, Al, you've heard me say it a million times. My blood boils every time I look at them.
Mm-hmm.
But if Clayton Kershaw is okay with it, if Dave Roberts is okay with it, if any of the other Dodgers that had this thing taken from them are okay with it, and Carlos Correa would give them a chance to get back and potentially win a World Series, am I really going to jump up and down if it happens? No, I'll never like Carlos Correa, but I can hold my nose and have him on my team for a few years if it means they've got a better chance of winning the World Series. I've done a 180 on it. I've changed my mind. I want to win the World Series. I'm done getting knocked out early.
Mm-hmm.
I want some friction. I want some heat. I want some uncomfortability, and I think Carlos Correa could bring all of those things.
I'm going to try to make a case for you, okay? I'm try to convince you back to where I think you were 2 weeks ago, where you were a couple months ago. I'm trying to take you back there, okay? You're right. He would add something that I don't think the Dodgers have. You're right that statistically, you go look at his stats. Would you have rather had Trey Turner? Of course you would have, but Trey Turner's gone.
Yep.
You're right that the position of shortstop, if it's Gavin Lux for 162 games or whatever the case is, you're not really sure what you're going to get. You don't. Now, he's got a good bat. I think Lux – I think sometimes when you have a position and you know it's yours, he might just get comfortable in it. He's never going to go out there and be one of the greatest shortstops ever, but he's got a great bat. I think a lot of teams would say, okay, hey, if we have to take Gavin Lux, we'll take Gavin Lux, but maybe just not in that position. But the part that I have a difficult time with, I'm going to go back to this. When you look at the Dodgers, the one thing that you always pay attention to, don't pay attention to who was on that team. Don't pay attention to their own feelings and their own thoughts. Pay attention to yours. Because if Travis Rogers, as big of a Dodger fan as I know, you talk about this window of the Dodgers missing one thing, and that one thing is in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? If you want to say, they could have played better against the Red Sox, or you know what, they should have beat the Nationals, they should have beat the Padres. You can lay it out as much as you want. You didn't get closer than 2017. You went 7 games, and it is obvious they cheated you out of a World Series. To kind of flip that and to look at it today and say, you know what, whatever Carlos Correa did that took away potentially a World Series from the Dodgers, I'm okay now to have him part of my team to go out there and try to win a World Series. I don't know. It's the principle of it of, I get you want to win. I get you're the Dodgers. I get you have arguably the best run franchise and you're missing this one piece that it feels unfulfilled from the last 10 years or whatever the case is. That dude has a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is the same player that we were all talking about over the last couple of months, couple of years. Remember the quote from Cody Bellinger, the quotes from Mike Trout, the quotes from every single player, not every player, but guys that were very vocal about what that Astros team did.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to me to all of a sudden say, you know what, now we're going to open our arms to you. It feels so disingenuous to me, and it feels – I don't think the Dodgers need to go do that. I really don't.
Well,
I feel like the Dodgers –
They may not need to, but they might do it anyway, right? And it is disingenuous, but it's also on the heels of playing 4 more games in the Cincinnati Reds. It's also another season of seeing them –
You don't have to do that.
Flame out. They don't have to, but they're a better team with him than with Gavin Lux at shortstop. They are. That's not really – that's a fact. They would be, because Lux's bat's going to be in the lineup. They'll find a place for him to play. I'm not saying Lux shouldn't be one of the 9 guys in the lineup. He should. I'm saying I just don't want him to play shortstop. You have an opening at shortstop. Let's see what's out there. If that's the piece that they land on, I'm not going to buy a jersey. I'm not going to jump up and down. He's never going to be my favorite player the way that Corey Seager was. You know how much I like Trey Turner. He will be a guy that's wearing the uniform that is a necessary evil to accomplish what I want to accomplish. And you're right. It is contradictory. It's hypocritical. It's all of those things. You're right, but I can live with it because I just am so sick and tired of seeing this team flame out way before they should, that doing it the way that they've done it. I know that you got to be in it over and over again. I'm at the point now where let's try something a little different. I'm not going to be the guy saying everything's great. I'm not going to give them a high five when I'll hold my nose when he comes to bat, but I want him to get a hit. I want him to win those games. I want to win the World Series.
Do you remember the example you gave?
Sure.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm going to make you say it.
You said that it's the equivalent of somebody sleeping.
Yeah.
If I'm right,
with
right?
your wife.
Sleeping with your wife.
Yeah, and then you want to start a business
Start
together.
a business with them. At that time, you're like, yeah, the business don't matter. This ain't happening. It's not going to happen. I just don't get what changed.
The business has failed 10 times in a row without that guy, and he keeps making successful businesses. That's the problem that's changed. And I'm losing some of my other partners that are going somewhere else, and my business is getting marginally less stable. That's what's changed.
Do you know what it's going to be?
I am fully aware
you're
of how
put your
hypocritical
head.
it is.
You're going to put your head on your bed at night, and you're not going to sleep well. You know how people say you're going to
I'll
sleep
be all right
well?
with it.
You're not going to sleep
Here's
well.
the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is it's not that. The worst case scenario is that he comes and he doesn't play well.
Yeah, and he doesn't deliver.
And he sucks up a lot of money.
Could I tell you something?
And a lot of hostility. That's the worst case scenario.
The best word Ramona used yesterday is watch out for karma. And for somebody that's a baseball God's guy, I don't like where you're going with this.
Both of those things are true, but they don't go together. The karma, I am a believer in it. If karma were the baseball equivalent of making good decisions, then the Astros wouldn't have won last year. They did. Mm-hmm. So the karma thing, yeah, I'm with you, like in life, but in sports, maybe not so much, right? Because they just won. And I know he wasn't on the team. I know he was in Minnesota, but I'm just saying, I'm coming around on this. I think a lot of Dodger
When's
fans are
Altuve
coming
a free
along
agent?
right.
Might as well go get Altuve, too. Bring the whole band back.
Look, if all of a sudden
Bring them all
you
to
needed
LA.
a guy that could help you win, I'm in a different place. I just am. I'm tired of seeing them flame out.
I hope Dodger fans are holding pat on this one and don't want to see Correa.
You saw what
as a
happened
Los
yesterday.
Angeles
You
Dodger.
saw the phone calls.
I
You
hope
saw the tweets.
I hope you are 1 in.
Let's open it up. Let's
10.
find out. Let's find out.
Be 1 in 10.
Let's find out.
If you're 5 of 10 Dodger fans. I don't know what to tell you.
8777. It wasn't. It was 1 in 10 the other way yesterday. That's what it was. 1 in 10. Keep them out.
I don't think we read. We got a lot of tweets. We should read them. We got a lot of tweets of people who are like, absolutely not. I know what you're saying. There were definitely people saying, if you could help me win, then go make it happen.
877-710-ESPN. 877-710-3776. That's coming up next. Strav Slee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Sliwa, your Tuesday.
Glad I brought it up.
But then it's like
You do understand some Emily.
You drive with your video going at the same time.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes, definitely drive my. But I'm not. I don't have to look at the video. It is a podcast. So I'm just listening to it.
Get it on your.
What if I don't want 2.5 hours of a podcast?
I mean, how do you not want to spend each weekday with this crew? Travis, Slee, producer Emily, producer Taylor, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here. Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
I'd like to ask Chris a small favor that when he refers to Taylor, it's not producer Taylor, it's unhinged, know nothing about music producer Taylor. I think that
Trying
those
to fire me up, Trav?
I like it because if I had to bet, if I just had to bet that there's maybe somebody else in this building, but if you said, Trav, I need you to pick the person that knows the most about music here, I would pick you. You would be my choice.
That's the best compliment you could ever give me.
Well, I'm glad you think
factual.
so. Yeah,
it's true.
And that you got tagged with unhinged and you know nothing. I'm really pleased with that.
Here's where I am on this. I actually have Spotify. I have the free version of it. So if people send me a Spotify version of a song, I'm able to listen to it. So I'm the peaceful one in this situation. I'm willing to bridge the gap, but I don't know if I can say the other.
Yeah, they're not. They're not looking for peace.
No, they're not.
They're looking
I
for
found
blood.
2 more people that are on Taylor's side, and we can reveal them at noon. Is you okay with that?
That's fine with me.
Let's go at noon.
I like a tease.
Yeah, I like it. So here's where we are on Twitter talking about Carlos Correa. A lot of this. Anthony Gaeta, no blanking Astros ever. He says he's stealing all of your Caps idea. And then there's this. This is from Laker Shane. If Barry Bonds was a Dodger the entire time, we wouldn't care. No more ethics talk. They all cheat somehow, some way. How come no one talks about bets coming from Boston? It's uncomfy, but he will hit in October. There's this one about how Correa's that guy that you hate when he's on the other team, and you hate him slightly less when he's on yours. Which is pretty great.
It's not the. Would you agree with this? It's not the same thing, right? It's not the same thing. When you use Barry Bonds as an example. No.
The Bonds thing, I think, is exactly
what I'm
the
saying
same.
is, what I'm saying, the other stuff. But is the Bonds thing the same thing?
I think
everybody was juicing.
Yeah.
So my point is that it's not the Astros. There weren't, and listen, I'm not an investigative reporter here, and I knew what each team was doing in that time frame, but there weren't 20 other teams banging on trash cans and doing whatever they were doing. That's exclusive to the Astros, correct?
Yes.
I don't know if I completely agree. I've heard you and Mason talk about this. The Mookie Betts Boston Red Sox things is different. I don't know enough about it to know.
So I'll use this. It's on the same block, but it's not in the same house. Does that make sense? Like it's similar, but it's not the same. That what they were doing was far less egregious, far less sophisticated, and had far less impact
so can I
than
ask
what
you
the
this?
Astros were doing.
Why don't we? Should we make more of a case about that with the Red Sox?
I'll tell
or no?
you why. Maybe not. But I think that the important part of that is that Mookie is here. Mookie, again, the Red Sox didn't get caught like that. They didn't get painted with the cheater brush like that.
They didn't at all.
They didn't have to answer all the questions that these other guy did. And look, Bregman, Correa, Altuve, others, they handled those questions so poorly that the rage just went to a whole nother level, and I think that it's still there. That's a big part of this, too, as opposed to, like, for instance...
Did they ever have to answer questions?
Yeah, they did. They didn't. They answered them.
I'm talking about Mookie.
No,
they
really
did it,
like
right?
that.
Like,
Then,
I don't remember anything.
Look, here's the other thing. George Springer was a part of that Astros team, too.
Yeah.
Very good player, who left the team shortly thereafter, went to Toronto, answered the questions slightly better than, nothing great, but a little bit better than some of those other guys. Everybody lets George Springer live his life, right? And I'm not saying I like him. I'm saying I'm going to hold my nose and keep going. And I understand a lot of Dodger fans hate this idea. I get why you hate it. I was one of you not that long ago, just tired of getting knocked out in the first or second round of the playoffs over and over again. Let's try North Hollywood first. Steve, you're on with Trav and Slee.
Guys, the answer is no. And then if we really want to discuss it further, the answer is still no. And here's why, more than anything else. I think if you're the Dodgers, you don't – and I think this is something Slee was talking about. There are lots of needs. We probably have a need at third base. We probably could use another outfielder. I would rather – because I've been a Dodgers fan for over 50 years. I'm in my mid-50s. My dad is 80. neither of us, we've discussed it actually, neither of us want Correa anywhere near Dodger Blue. And look, Lux is on your team already. Now, I would rather risk him. He was a minor league shortstop, essentially. I'd rather see what we got with him, knowing that I've got Taylor, who also came up as a shortstop, and I could also try trades. But if those aren't palatable to the Dodgers, I'd be very happy making a run at guys like Dansby Swanson and Xander Bogaerts, two guys who would be great options if the price is right. But look, you have only so much money to spend apparently this year because they're not going to go break the bank. Don't spend it on Correa. Just don't do it.
Steve, I got a question for you. Let's. How does everything change for you if, let's say, they went out? Because if they signed Correa, you said your pops is, you guys are diehard Dodger fans. What changes? So they go inside Correa. Does anything change for you in how you root for the Dodgers? Does anything change? I mean, is it just one of those things, well, man, that's a tough pill to swallow, but I don't know if there's going to be a lot of Dodger fans lining up and saying they're going to stop watching Dodger baseball. They're going to stop going to the games.
I'm going to give you something. I'll answer that. We had this discussion about Bauer when the Bauer thing was kind of questionable. I don't want to see Bauer ever pitch for the Dodgers again, regardless of whether or not he got in trouble with the law. And there are certain guys, I feel like, I'm not a karma guy necessarily, but I do feel like, you bring dirty laundry into the dugout, and then when everybody gets dressed, they're dirty. And it's just, I think that's something that I don't want Dodgers going everywhere and everyone booing because they picked him up. It's like,
they'll boo him for a period of time, Steve, and I think that very quickly people will stop booing. They won't cheer, but they'll get used to the fact, hey, he's here. Can he help us?
You can win without Correa.
And I think that, yeah, they can. But they can also probably win more with him. I'm not saying there aren't other options. I agree with what Steve said. There are other guys out there that I would rather see ahead of Carlos Correa. But what I'm saying is, if it does in fact happen, I'm going to get on board with it. If this is the direction that they go, I'm not going to be jumping up and down saying this is the end of the world.
And there's only so much you can do, right? I think the conversation is right now because it hasn't happened yet. But once that's why I was asking him the question of, okay, but you're not going to be protesting outside and saying that you're not going to go to a Dodger game. I think they're still going to be going.
Diamond Bar, Gil, you're on with Travis Lee. What's up?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm with Travis on this one. I used to hate Karl Malone. Those Utah teams, they drove me crazy. I used to hate Matt Barnes that tried to throw
not good
that
examples.
ball at Kobe's face.
Nah, not that.
Gilbert,
I'm going to just stop you for a quick second. I wish you were giving examples of guys that cheated the game in some shape, way, or form. Because you not liking Karl Malone because he was able to hit a 15-footer and the Lakers would lose to the Jazz is different than this situation.
No, Ron Artest was dirty. He would cheat the Lakers all the time. He would foul Kobe. He was dirty. He was a dirty player. But when he came here and he hit that three-pointer against the Celtics and helped us win that championship, I love Ron Artest now. He's one of my favorite players. So I'm with Trav on this one. The goal is to win a championship, and Correa is a great player.
I think you're both right. Gilbert, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I think there's two things. I'm more on your side, Al. I don't know if those are apples to apples right there.
I see what he's trying to say.
I do too. But this is not a player who used to beat your team or foul your team or prevent your team from going where you wanted it to go. This is somebody that stole something from you. It's different. This is somebody that isn't throwing in shots at the buzzer to beat you. This is somebody that's rigging the game to beat you. It's different, and I understand that. That being said, I think the second thing Gilbert said is where I am. I want to put the best team that the Dodgers can put on the field every single season, and if that means that they go and get him, look, would I rather have Dansby Swanson or Bogaerts? Yeah, probably, for all the reasons that we're talking about. My argument is, if he comes, let's go. Let's go see what it can do. I'm not actively saying go out and break the bank for him. I'm not saying go out and do everything you can, move heaven and earth to get him in. My point is, if he comes, I'm not going to be the ones jumping up and down saying I hate this. I'm going to be the one that I hate that guy, but I do think that the Dodgers are better with him than they are with Gavin Lux or Chris Taylor at shortstop. That's my argument. That doing nothing as opposed to Carlos Correa is not a winning proposition for me. Other player in Carlos Correa, sure. Carlos Correa or Gavin Lux, yeah, let's go. I don't love it, but I'll get over it. especially if we get in October and they start to win a few along the way. Factor Cap, Emily, before we do it, no streaming questions. It's coming up next. It's Travis Slee, 710
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers. You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go fact.
First of all, it's not a cap. It's
no, it
just
is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hey guys, I know we think that soccer is over, but Portugal's up 2-0 over the Swiss with Ronaldo on the bench, the $500 million man on the bench.
Actually, soccer started. This is actually the good soccer.
Oh, you mean football?
They benched Ronaldo?
There's an issue with the coach and Ronaldo. It's a little bit complicated, and I don't super know everything about it. I just know that he was benched for this game. At least
seems to have worked out.
Exactly. So speaking of which, sports that aren't necessarily our typical watching. This weekend, the Cal men's water polo team ended up beating the USC water polo team. But what happened was the last quarter of the game, Cal came back, scored 5 goals to erase their deficit, and their game-winning goal happened in the last 40 seconds of the game. It was honestly thrilling. I was paying attention to it on Twitter. It got me really into it. But I think if I showed you guys the highlights, you would at least find it really intriguing. I sent them to Clinton, and he was like, whoa, this is crazy. So even if you don't understand the sport, it's cool to watch something that gets decided in the last minute of play. Travis, Fetcher Cap.
Yeah, fact. I mean, we just experienced that for the last couple of weeks, right? I'm not a soccer person. I don't understand the intricacies of what's happening, but when you got to that third match of the group stage and you were either going through or you weren't, or you're trying to watch, you needed a specific result in a different match, and just the attacks that were going on, I didn't understand any of the strategic elements of it, but it was incredibly exciting. So I don't need to know exactly going on to know that if you get it in the net, you win and you advance. That's always exciting.
Al?
So fact for me as well, but this what kind of gets me with sports. When the fans are really into it, I don't even have to know what's going on, but just seeing their passion makes you kind of like, oh, geez, what is going on here, right? So whether it's watching a soccer match and there's 90,000 people at a stadium, or like you were talking about, watching some type of stream, if everybody else is excited, you just naturally get excited. If it's looks boring and there's nobody there when we're doing sports during COVID, you could have the most unbelievable games, an NFL game, but because there was nobody there, it did lose. It lost some of its thunder. Were they piping in the noise? I'm like, what is happening here? But that's kind of the only thing you go with. For me, the crowd has a lot to do with it.
No question.
Taylor?
Yeah, fact for me too. Even before the World Cup, watching a soccer game of consequence, LAFC. I mean, how about
Great
that
example.
That was just who couldn't watch? Who couldn't pull away from that?
Right. And I feel the same way about golf. I understand golf, like what happens, but I don't really get really invested in it. But, when Tiger's out there, when it's the Masters, things like that, I can see on Sunday of the Masters why it's so cool.
The Olympics are kind of like that, too.
Yeah.
That even sports that like you don't typically watch, but all of a sudden you're watching the gymnastics. I
Swimming.
couldn't tell you if she nailed that landing or that flip or whatever, but when the scores go up, you're super invested in it.
Tennis,
Yeah,
all of a
for
sudden
sure.
becomes
I
at
like
the right
tennis
time.
anyway,
Track.
but yeah.
Yeah, totally. Track too. So a Australian mother is getting parent shamed for allowing her child to have a McDonald's themed party. So this child apparently loves McDonald's, favorite place to go, favorite thing to do. So the child wanted a McDonald's themed party, and the parent is getting shamed for it. So the theme of a birthday party should be whatever the kid wants. Alan, Patrick Cap.
Fact. Birthday's for the kid. It's not for anybody else. So you might as well. Now, if it's, make sure that the kid is, I don't know, best you could put it, but is McDonald's going to be known if it's the healthiest food? I'm sure that's what some of the parents are concerned about is, well, yeah, it isn't the healthiest of food out there, but if it's for the kid, absolutely it should be. If he's a big Dodger fan and he wants to make a Dodger theme, make a Dodger theme. If he's a big Star Wars fan, whatever it is, right? Make it whatever it is. I don't think it matters. And parents who are going to another kid's birthday, can you keep it down over there? Keep the peanut gallery, keep it down?
So first of all, the 3 birthday parties you named, I'm in on all 3. I'll do McDonald's, Dodgers, and Star Wars. They all sound like
That's one birthday. That's one birthday.
I want all 3. I want Luke Skywalker in a Dodger uniform eating a Big Mac. That's what I want for my birthday party. That sounds amazing. Yeah, look. Emily, do you know how old the kid was? I'm guessing 8 or 9, I guess my guess?
24.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was pretty young.
5-year-old. Perfect. Look, no one's saying you got to go fill your kid up with chicken McNuggets 6 days a week, but if he wants to go to Timmy's birthday and they're serving chicken, great. Who cares? It's fine. Nobody's going to die if you eat a cheeseburger one day. Everything is
What about
cool.
the cake that they have out there? What about the candy that's at every birthday?
I bet those parents shaming the kid have cake at their kid's birthday party.
Of course they do.
So all of this being said, let me make this very clear. What you said is right in a vacuum. Those parties from about 5 and under have nothing to do with the children. It is all about mom and dad putting together something to show off to the other parents in the neighborhood, and they are awful and dreadful, and there are very few things that you will have less fun at than a 3-year-old's birthday that is so over the top and extravagant that you just want to vomit. They are the worst things in the world.
Taylor?
Yeah, fact. Let the kid have fun. Let the parents parent how they like to do it. Just stay out of other people's business.
So one of my favorite birthday party themes when I was a kid, I want to say it was maybe my 9th or 10th birthday, somewhere in there. There was this doll called a Groovy Girl where they had just crazy hairstyles. That was the marketing thing of this doll. Is you can put your doll into whatever crazy hairstyle you want. So my dad took it upon himself to do the hairstyle of every little girl that came to this party. He was a great birthday dad. Like, I don't know at the age if he loved it or not, but it seems like he did.
If he did what you're describing, he loved doing it.
Yeah,
he did not do that
super
just
cute.
to take one for the team. That's good dadding right
yeah,
there.
And it was like, I now look back at those pictures in our scrapbooks and stuff, and it's so cute.
Of
and
course, it's awesome.
I must have been like, I really want a groovy girl party, and my dad did it.
And then after the birthday parties were over, and they
Chick-fil-A.
were too old, tiki bar.
Exactly.
He created a tiki bar.
Tiki bar idea is kind of growing on me. I'm in on Korea and tiki bars. Right. I've turned around on two things.
Taking to the dark side.
6 months ago. I don't know what he's doing.
That was with
Get
John.
Correa out of here.
With
Now
the
it's like
neighbor.
I would love to order a drink from a tiki bar.
So I saw this on TikTok this morning, and it was this video where these people had their flight canceled from Orlando to Knoxville. And so the person in the video was like, so we all decided to get my family and 15 strangers in a van and drive from Orlando to Knoxville, because each person had like a different reason, like why they needed to be in Knoxville, like this night, all that good stuff. They couldn't afford to get on another flight, stuff like that. Interesting concept. So you would do this if you really needed to get somewhere, as in find strangers in your waiting area and drive 8 hours in a van. Taylor, Fetcher Cap.
That many strangers? Oh, that's a lot.
I'd say, let's say 6 strangers.
A couple that I had vetted beforehand. I mean, I think it sounds like a recipe for fun. It reminds me of Home Alone when they get in the van with that polka band. A little bit, you never know what's going to happen. Just kind of vet them out a little bit. If you get a bad feeling about them, don't go. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine.
Trev?
It's one or the other. You either have the time of your life and you meet some people you really like, and it's an adventure and a story that you tell forever and ever and ever, or it is the 8 worst hours you've ever experienced with other human beings. There's almost no middle of it. 8 hours is just far enough that maybe you don't do it, because that is a really long time. But I will say this, just a quick story, a quick aside. I was 25, 26 years old. One of Susan and mine's friends was getting married in Connecticut. I fly from Los Angeles to JFK, right? Have my rental car and all these things set up, ready to go. Land, go to the rental car place, and hand every credit card, driver's license, and the person working at the rental counter says, your driver's license is expired. I can't rent you this car. It's like midnight. It's late, right? And everything's starting to button up.
No Ubers at this time, I'm assuming.
No, this is 1997 or 8. It's something like that. And I said, well, okay, I didn't know it was expired. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. It's only expired by a few months. It's a big. She's like, I'll lose my job if I rent you a car with an expired driver's license. I can't do it. I'm like, I'm starting to make offering money. I have to get to Connecticut in this place, tomorrow morning. There's a wedding that I need to be at tomorrow morning. And I don't, and I'm like, well, is there a van and all these things? Nothing. She says, well, you can hire a car. I had to hire like a black car. Again, this is 25. I don't have any money. I'm not doing anything. I had to hire like a limo driver to drive me from JFK into the middle of nowhere, Connecticut. It's some lake in the middle of nowhere. We have MapQuest printed directions. That's how long ago this was. You want to take a guess? This was 1997 or 8.
How much it cost?
From New York City, JFK, to the middle of BFE, Connecticut.
$500?
You're really close. It was like $450. And I did not have $450 to spend on this thing. So I would have been very happy to jump in a van with 8 strangers to drive to Connecticut.
I'm cap on this one. I can't. I get the concept. I get you can probably have a good time. I don't know how you guys are in a car, but I kind of like and I understand that it's kind of like a last-second thing. You have to do it. But I will take my chances. I will wait. I don't know who these people are.
What if you were driving?
I don't know who's got the aux. I don't know who's playing the music in there. If I was driving, I will tell you that would help, because you feel like, all right, I'm going to get to this place, I'm going to get this location, but somebody's car sick in the back, there's this, I don't know what's going on.
You get to stop when you want to stop, at least. It's up to you.
Yeah.
The driving would probably help a little bit. Just to make sure that we don't cancel too many flights. USC is out of the Final Four, but is this the new normal for USC? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our long drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers. You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
Question. Do you like 4:30 tip-offs? I love these early games, but I don't know if people like them because they're still at work till 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
6 o'clock or whatever the case is.
You get to see the second half by the time that you're home, but I like to have something to
today,
Sometimes
one
that's all you
tomorrow.
want to see, too, the second half of the game.
Perhaps, but I like to
6
close the
o'clock,
night.
second half.
Now, here's the amazing thing about the little conversation Trav and Sliwa had. They never mentioned that you could actually listen to the Lakers on this radio station. And Slee's part of the Lakers broadcast team. By the way, on your way home, listen to Lakers basketball, Lakers Cavs this afternoon. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. with Slee. Travis and Sliwa continues your Tuesday right now.
I know it's the Cavs. I know we've talked about it 10,000 times. When I turn on my TV today at 4 o'clock, I'm going to expect the Toronto Raptors. you ever get one of those stuck in your head, which is like, oh, they're playing the Raptors. Bergman corrected me this morning.
Are the Cavs and the Raptors the same franchise to you?
No. I looked at the schedule, and they're right next to each other, and in my brain, they're flipped the other way.
It's you with the Washington Bullets, too.
Yeah, that's true, too. Bullets is a great name.
Break down Pascal Siakam today. Just tomorrow, do Donovan Mitchell.
Hey, I want credit that I know Pascal Siakam is on the Raptors. That's a win for me.
No, you don't get credit for Siakam.
Sure.
You get credit for
Van Vliet?
No, you did. What did you do? Was it
Michael Redd?
Michael Redd.
Oh, yeah,
That's
him.
You don't need to go anywhere else. You did Michael Redd when we were talking about all-star foods and that don't belong on an all-star team.
So how about this? The Padres offered Trey Turner a contract that would have made him the most highly paid shortstop in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Would have passed Lindor's $341. He decided to go to Philadelphia instead. Got $330. Boo-hoo. He got plenty of money. But the Padres made a run at him at that amount.
Impressive.
We know what they're going to have to pay Juan Soto if they want to keep him.
Which they have 2 more years on his contract.
They've already, and by the way, they have to go huge because of what they gave up to get him. They already broke the bank for Tatis. They already broke the bank for Machado. They've gone out and spent a ton of money and
gave Musgrove $100.
Yep, exactly. Musgrove $100. this is not the only way to go win games and to spend a lot of money. There's no guarantees. But this is different. The Dodgers have another team, and the owner with the Padres, that he's throwing around money like that. It does change things a little bit. The Dodgers are going to do what they do. They've got more money than the Padres. They've got a better system. But the Padres are as aggressive as they are makes that division a little bit more interesting.
So I think what this could do, sometimes, they say competition's good. Competition will make you better. And the Dodgers have set they've set an example, and unfortunately for teams that are in the NL West, you got the Dodgers right next to you, so you don't really have a choice. You don't have a choice if you want to compete. And I'm not saying
I don't know if that's true.
Well, let me explain. You don't have to do it their way. You got to do it your way, and you don't have to be the Dodgers with their payroll and the Dodgers with their stars. But something I could tell you firsthand that's been missing in San Diego for a long time, there hasn't really been a reason to go see these games. There hasn't been really a reason. There hasn't been box office. There hasn't been we saw a report earlier on this. The Giants are trying to do everything they can to go get Aaron Judge.
They're going huge.
Right? They're going huge. You could have a division potentially that has Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts,
Soto,
Tatis. Machado, Tatis, Freddie Freeman. Go down the list. I mean, you could have just in this division. But I'm not saying this is all the credit to the Dodgers, but I think the Dodgers have kind of set this, at least in the NL West and at least in the NL. If you want to compete, you got to have players.
Yep.
That doesn't mean you can't go, grow your own players and that whole crop and everything else. But you're going to, if you shortchange it, the Dodgers are right there. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but the Dodgers will always be right there.
It doesn't guarantee you anything. You're right about that. But look at what Colorado's doing. Look at what Arizona's doing. They're basically saying we can't compete with that. The only way we can do it is to try to accumulate a bunch of young players and hope to be good sooner than we think we will.
Let those guys hit.
Right. Let those and hope that they become good when they're in their second and third year in the big leagues and not their fifth or sixth year where you got to trade them away because you're not going to be able to pay them. Padres are trying to do a Dodger-light version. They don't have the system and the prospects because they just emptied the bank to go get Soto.
Yeah.
But that they went like that at Turner because usually, look, all right, this I'm sure was the
I could paint
philosophy.
You the last two off seasons,
right.
But go.
We got Machado. Okay, this has to work. And then they make a trade for Tatis, and they realize they have a very special player. We got to lock him up. And then they turn around and they go make a huge deal for Soto. And now they're going all in to try to get Trey Turner. That's not taking one swing. That's 4 swings. And 3 of them landed. Soto landed, Tatis landed, Machado landed. That is not – the Yankees don't really go after everybody like that. The Dodgers are pretty surgical in who they go. They're going after almost everybody.
Can I give you something? And remember last year in the offseason – or I'm sorry, at the trade deadline – Max Scherzer ended up with the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Freeman, there was conversation that the Padres were trying to get him, ended up with the Dodgers. The Dodgers have landed the guys, at least a few guys that they've been going for. You don't hit, 1,000 or anything like that, but they've hit on some of these guys. What's unique in San Diego, they are the only game in town. So I go back to this because not every city is created equal. The Dodgers, as much as they're competing with the Padres and they're competing with – it's very important, too, that your squad is relevant. It's very important. They're going to sell the tickets. I'm not saying that they're not going to. But you got the Lakers here. You got 2 NFL teams now. You got there's a lot more attention to L.A., and there's a lot more competition in L.A. just for people.
Bless you. Bless you. That came on fast.
Thank you. It was, I was fighting it off.
I saw you were kind of squinting at me. I'm like, we'll see how this goes. You should have just done that little pinch your nose
I was
thing.
determined.
Muscle through it. You made it out the other side. You made it.
But they really don't have, much competition out there in SD, and they're making a run for it. They didn't go get Trey Turner, but the fact that you're right that they're actually going for it says something.
And you think that they'll probably go for it again at the deadline, right? That this is, if they were willing to go spend money to go get Trey Turner, maybe they'll spend some more money to make a deal at the deadline and extend a guy beyond, whatever number he may be at this moment. And you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Ohtani. Right, that the Angels, we'll see what happens with the sale of the team, but it feels almost inevitable that Ohtani is going to leave. If the Angels are what they've been for the last 10 years, mediocre or worse, they're going to have to move him at some point. I can't imagine somebody would want to do that without getting some sort of guarantee that you're going to get him beyond the 2 or 3 months that you might have him for. Dodgers, are going to kick the tires there. The Giants, I think, will be interested in that. The Padres will be interested in that. The Yankees and all these teams. But that the Padres are interested in things like that.
Do you like it?
I like him anywhere.
No. Do you like that there's that the Padres are in a sense going all in, that the Giants are fighting for Aaron Judge, that these teams right here in LA that you can get, I know that it's not 19 matchups anymore versus each squad, was it 13 now, something like that?
14 I think, yeah.
Do you like that competition just is right here in California?
I love it.
It's almost like the West Coast is becoming the capital of baseball.
Even if it wasn't the Padres and the Giants that were getting involved in this, I would even I'm just picking teams at random. The Rockies and the Mariners. Just to pick two teams. The White Sox and the Reds. Okay, that it's not the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Braves.
Yeah.
That it's somebody different. I think is incredibly refreshing because it does get stale knowing that. All right, there's 14. What are there? No, there are 10 spots, 12 spots.
12 spots.
12 spots
12 teams
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That I can tell you who 8 of those are going to be right now. That's not good. That's not a good deal. That I can tell you for sure that it's 8. If we can get it down to 6, then I think it's a totally different conversation. Do you see the numbers that the Pac-12 championship game pulled?
Yes.
Big numbers, big crowds, and lots of attention. And there's only one reason why. We'll get into it next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. And you're going to want to listen all week because we are giving away suite passes to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. The game is happening on Saturday, December 17th. Let me say that again. Saturday, December 17th at SoFi Stadium. And if you call in right now, 877-710-ESPN, caller number 10 will win 4 suite passes to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stiefel. Tickets are on sale right now, starting as low as $35. Visit labowlgame.com for more info. That's labowlgame.com for more information.
The World's Game is on center stage as the 20.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Sliwa is on for your Tuesday. this little clip from yesterday's show. Travis talking about something. I don't really know. Hit the tape.
The whole, my bad guy. Yeah, I know. You don't need to tell me. I know it was your fault. I'm well aware that you blew that. And you telling me that you blew it doesn't really make me feel any better.
I have no clue what Travis is talking about. And I've pointed this out to Trav before in person, so I'm not talking out of school here. Trav is sort of developing, and has been for a while, this sort of John Madden thing.
But I don't think he's doing a very good. I'd quit. I mean, like if you've been working out for like 4 days and that's all you get, and the going gets tough, if it's that tough, just quit.
I mean, John Madden's probably the greatest color commentator of all time, so you're in good company, Trav. Sweet Tea. T-Raj. Meanwhile, the Lakers are back on the court. Sliwa's got your Toyota Lakers countdown to tip-off today at 3 p.m. after Mason and Ireland. Lakers-Cavs tonight as the road trip continues. Right now, let's get to it. Travis and Sliwa, your Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll take Madden all day long, Slee. I've never been more pleased with a compliment in my entire life. John Madden? Come on, what are you going to do? Call me Vin Scully next? Yeah, I'm not mad at it at all.
There's a fight going down.
There's a lot going on our show today. I'm not going to
lie. A lot going on here.
So earlier today, we were talking about I was in the car with my family yesterday with my wife and my youngest son, and they got into an argument over music streaming platforms. And Susan was Alan Sliwa in this car.
Yep.
My son Michael was Emily in this. Michael was screaming at Susan like, "What do you mean you listen to Pandora? Nobody listens to the stupidest app ever. Why would you do that? Can't pick your songs."
He sounds unhinged.
He
Sounds
was
unhinged.
unhinged.
Michael,
he was doing the thing.
Michael, how about this? Don't leave your egg sandwich in the car for 6 hours. Okay?
At least 6, probably closer to 8. And he still ate the egg. Should I eat the egg? That same kid.
You said don't eat the egg. He's like, I already ate it. Well, why are you asking me that?
You already ate it. You seem like you're fine.
That's a great story.
Emily got all worked up again about
What a shock.
Spotify and how that is the
Shocker.
only acceptable way. Sophia came in earlier to yell at Taylor, who called him I wrote it down, an unhinged person
Which
who
Taylor
knows nothing about music.
For Taylor to get bullets flying his way, I don't think he ever gets bullets flying his way.
I mean, when I think of
he
Taylor,
hasn't
I
done
think
anything.
unhinged.
Right. That if you had a list of characteristics under Taylor's name, unhinged would very likely not be there. So we got Sophia's point of view. Now we've got 2 more people here from 710. DeAndre and Parker are here with us now. Are you guys Team Emily or Team Sliwa?
Well, I don't think there's a Team Sliwa. I think
whether you want it or not, you're Pandora.
Well, no, I'm Pandora.
He's Apple Music.
But it's more, is it Team Taylor or Team Emily? Because there's 9 people left subscribed to Pandora, and I'm sticking all the way until the stock is done.
Susan's in.
I know.
You got 2.
We chat all the time about great music.
So, DeAndre, let's start with you.
I'm Team Taylor, man. Apple Music all day. I mean, I'm Apple guy, Apple product. Apple Music has been my go-to from the start.
Do you want to fight someone that feels differently?
I wouldn't say I want to fight anyone.
Would you, let's just use as an example, you're playing in a pickup basketball game. There's somebody who's 45 years old guarding you. Would you dunk on him, look down on him, and throw your hands like this, like Sean Kemp did?
Yeah. I'm pointing at him. I'm flexing on him.
Because they have Spotify.
Yeah.
All right,
exactly.
So he's going after
Parker.
Spotify.
Well, so I'm kind of obligated to say that, my podcast comes on to Spotify, so it doesn't go to Apple Music. And in that sense, I'm Team Emily, but my whole life, Apple Music, baby.
Because
it started with like iTunes.
iTunes, yeah.
When we were, DeAndre and I are both 25, so when we first got our iPhones in middle school or iPods, it was like our family gave you an iTunes card for Christmas. So we got our favorite music on there, and it now has transitioned into Apple Music.
Emily, would you like to fight either?
They got him young. By the way, this is like the beer companies trying to get you in college, trying to get you in high school and college.
Right. So
you get that Coors Light at 18, you ain't going anywhere else.
They're handing out free cigarettes back in the day.
Right. So
literally.
What's funny is
I'm a Marlboro guy.
Sophia just came in to try to give me some points to add to you guys. So let me go back again. My first why I got addicted to Spotify was because when I was a college student, they were doing a program where it was like free Hulu with your Apple Music, and with Spotify, and it was pretty cheap. But Sophia says shouldn't it come free if you have an Apple phone? Like, shouldn't Apple Music be free if you have an Apple product? Like, I think Apple's just trying to get more money out of you. I think you should go to Spotify.
That's shocking. That Apple
I don't know.
would try to.
Spotify's great.
Because Spotify's free?
Spotify isn't free, but
Oh.
I choose to elect to use it because I think it's a superior service. Also, okay.
How much is Spotify a month?
$694.
Might as well be. How
I think
much
it's
is
like
it?
10. But I also use it for both podcasts and for music. And I honestly think I listen to podcasts more than music. I use it all the time, and it's a really good podcast platform.
As someone that doesn't really have a dog in this fight, I just like to I want to do like the play-by-play right here. Here's what's happened. Al's a Pandora guy, and he's kind of just whatever. If you want to listen to music the way you want.
Yeah.
Taylor's kind of he's an Apple Music guy. He's like, yeah, I like Apple Music. DeAndre is an Apple Music guy. Parker is an Apple Music guy. They're both like, yeah, whatever. The two people that are the Spotify people are like the jihadis. They want to wage war
Exactly.
on this. This means far more to those people than it does to any
I
of the
love
rest
how
of you.
Sophia was probably pacing around. Okay, listen, if they say this.
She's going to run in here.
If Parker comes with this, you come back with that. They're much more prepared. They're much more prepared.
We feel very strongly that it's the superior way in which to
that's
enjoy
fine.
this audio
but
medium.
guys, you two take this one that she feels strong. That obviously you guys have a preference, but I don't feel the level of investment that Emily and Sophia have had.
Yeah, see, I think I'm an Apple guy with a Pandora vibe. You know? Like,
Good
I'm
man here.
coming in here like, let's just get Pandora, guys.
Emily, aren't you against Ticketmaster and the monopoly they have over the music industry? I mean, isn't this the same
Taylor's
thing you're
like
asking
an
for with
anarchist.
Spotify?
He's just
Pandora's like a nice glass of wine. It's been sitting there for a while. It aged. It did everything, you know?
I'm not asking for it to be the monopoly that everyone uses it. I just want to feel superior when I do listen to it.
Okay, you're superior.
Parker, we were talking in the back over there when we're doing the YouTube stream. And, he brought up a good point about the lyrics aspect of it. You know what I mean? Apple Music was the first, kind of the one, to use lyrics. Even to the point now where it's kind of like, like a karaoke where
Perfectly
the song
in
goes
sync,
on,
you can follow it.
You can
Yeah.
follow
Okay,
it.
Spotify
as
does
it
the same
goes.
thing now.
Yeah,
So
just a heads up, Pandora does not do that. Pandora does not have that option.
Spotify has
still
it.
going-
I was unaware.
You're going to the old CD notes with the lyrics printed on the inside of the cover
Oh,
art.
I love the liners.
The liners, thank you. That's the word I can
reading
think of.
along.
I think it's in like microscopic.
You know what's funny? If I probably used either one of these services for a week, I'd probably come back with 15
Don't
things
you
of
dare.
how amazing it is.
Don't you dare.
I'm not doing it. I'm staying. I'm
But-
sticking in.
So here's where I have come after all this time of thinking. I do think that maybe it comes down to young men really like Apple Music, and I think the majority of young men that I've met are Apple Music people. The majority of young women that I've met are Spotify people. So maybe it's like that is the.
It's gender based.
Maybe it's gender based. Who knows? I don't know. This is kind of my conclusion I've
No
drawn.
idea.
Gentlemen,
Well, I'm not
Taylor?
trying to start a...
Start a war. Start a war.
Ladies are going to come at Emily. Oh, so now we can't listen to Apple Music. Now
say-
we're only Spotify.
I laid a little bit of a trap for both of you, and that you were both smart enough not to step in it. I'm proud of you both. Good job, guys. Emily,
Good work,
going to the
fellas. Good work, fellas.
you only like it because you're men. That's an aggressive play. She's elevated the playing field. I like it. I like that you care much.
If
about
you're a
this, Emily.
Republican and you listen to Spotify, give us a call.
Go political. Right. Absolutely great. Thanks, guys.
Biden is only
For the
Spotify.
life of me, I understand having a preference, right? Like, for instance, I like Coors Light. Okay, I'm a Coors Light guy. I like to have a nice can of Coors Light when I play a little golf. If we went out to play some golf and you opened a can of Bud Light, I wouldn't want to
Get
fight
off the cart.
you.
Get off the cart. You're not riding with me.
Like, you're
What are
Bud
you
Light
talking about?
guy, huh? Yeah, I like Bud Light. I'm like, all right, I'm not.
Isn't this what sports radio is about? Having an opinion and being really strong about it and fighting
But
for it
it's-
tooth and nail.
The Taylor Swift song that plays on Spotify, that plays on Apple Music, that plays on Pandora, isn't it the exact same song?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think the audio.
They're all
quality-
remixes on Spotify. It's a complete remix.
I want to hear Michael's opinion on this.
Well, nobody uses it. Was this first one? You can't pick your songs, and you just like listen to the radio. Yeah, okay. Then no one's asking you to listen to it, Michael.
Since this is basically, I feel like it's like I feel like we're all in high school, and you went to one group of friends and said, "You hear what? Did you hear what they said? Do you hear what they said about you?" I mean, I don't want to listen. I don't want to start anything, but this is what they said. And then right after you went to the other group of friends, did you hear what they said about you,
Emily?
And then the fight starts, and you just kind of back away.
It was
like,
my favorite.
work here is
I loved it. I'm not kidding you. I'm sitting in the car last night as it's unfolding. I'm like, I know I can get Emily to go on this again. Maybe I can get Slee to engage.
Okay.
Wasn't entirely
It
sure.
did
but-
change a little
but
bit. Actually,
thankfully, Taylor got
Taylor
involved.
was the one that had to defend himself.
So, what's funny is you guys have superlatives in high school and everything, right?
Have what?
Superlatives. So, like, most likely to
Oh,
succeed
yeah.
and
Sure.
like class clowns. So, one of the categories at Cortland High School, which is where I went to high school, was
What's the mascot?
Cougars.
Go
Cortland
Cougs.
Cougars. So one of the categories was most opinionated. I won that
Let
one.
me take a guess.
And my older sister won that one. So
Oh,
we
it's
have a
a Hebel
legacy
crown.
going of most opinionated.
It's a
in high
Hebel
school.
Tradition.
family crown.
Yeah, that's why I ended up in sports radio.
All right, quick story. There's a bagel place near our house that we go to pretty regularly, and that the kids at the local high school go to a lot, right? And they have this thing called the Bagel Lord, right, where you get a free bagel once a week or whatever, and one senior hands it down to a junior, right? And then that junior becomes like most opinionated for Emily's family. They hand it from one person to the other. My Bobby was the Bagel Lord in 2000 in, what was his graduating class? 16, I want to say. So his picture is hanging in the bagel shop.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's on a plaque
That's awesome.
in the bagel store. He is the Bagel Lord. And
That's amazing.
Now Michael has already started to campaign. By the time that he's a senior, he would like to have it, and he's trying to butter up the employees at the bagel store so he will become the Bagel Lord class of 2020.
Put it on your resume.
Let's find his salesman skills of winning that award.
He could be a little persuasive along the way. All right, we're getting into the Trojans. The Pac-12 numbers were terrific over the weekend. That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Your Tuesday, Travis and Sliwa here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The official show of the debate. Spotify versus Apple Podcast versus Pandora.
Also, FYI, anybody who on Twitter tries to tweet me and talk about and try to convince me otherwise of why they deserve to use Pandora, I'm going to respond with you with all caps.
Blocked. The fun continues. Travis and Sliwa right now.
So Emily's theory about gender-based things may not be exactly true. Erica wants you to know, Emily, that she listens to Apple Music. So,
well, she's not a real woman.
There's one. So the gender theory has been cracked.
But Eric says most of the girls I know use Spotify, and all my dudes use Apple Music. So this is all.
You might be right.
What's the term that it's not based in data, but it's based in life?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, and I can't pull the word. It'll come to me. I need to stop thinking about it. Coffee and Dodgers writes, don't sell Amazon Prime music short. Coffee and Dodgers, stop. We don't need another person in the pool creating chaos. We've got a two-way fight right now, a little bit of a three-way, but Al's kind of tapped the mat. He's really not.
Anecdotal evidence.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you. That's
more than happy that my app was popular in 2015.
Bill Russ, I listen on YouTube. I don't even know how Spotify works. Is it free? Bill, are you trying to get Emily to pop a blood vessel in her brain? Would you like to explain it, Emily?
I use YouTube too. YouTube as well.
Yeah, that's fine, guys.
Well, he's probably listening on YouTube, right? To our
So
show.
I would think.
Please stream our show on YouTube. We love that. We love to see you guys see our reactions and everything. And that's yes.
So
not
far,
sold on her sales job right there.
two great lines so far today from the crew here. It was Sophia earlier who called Taylor an unhinged who knows nothing about music, and then Parker was an Apple guy with a Pandora vibe.
I love that.
Which is pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
Take those.
I don't know if that just came out spontaneously or he had curated that line, but he delivered it spotlessly. That was
the best part.
Well
with
done.
Listen to his podcast on Spotify.
All these platforms, every single one of them, you just got complete silence when you're driving home. Today, you're going to be sitting there saying, "Man, I wonder what's
trying to think what
like.
I use. I don't listen. I don't stream. Whatever streaming service is connected to my car is the one. I don't even know what it is. I truly have no idea.
Serious?
It's not Sirius. I'll explain. The Silverado has Sirius, so that you can, it's like the radio. You just pick the channels that you want, or you can connect it to your phone and play the songs that are on your phone. But is that Apple?
No.
I don't know. Just music comes out. You hit that little triangle that's turned to the side, and music comes out. What do I know?
You're going to get everybody
He's been a
upset.
Pandora guy the whole time.
Yeah, for all we know, it could be.
Honest to God, it
could be.
You know what I'm talking about, right? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later along the way. But good job by Parker, Apple guy with a Pandora vibe. It should be on like a T-shirt or something.
It's not
like
bad.
That. It's not bad at all. USC and Utah drew 6.23 million viewers on Fox.
Big time numbers.
Biggest number in the history of the Pac-12 championship game. 11 years. That's the biggest one they've had.
Yep.
It also had just over 61,000 people in the building. It's the first sellout in the game's history.
It's obvious. Utah.
Sure. I've been telling you guys this for as long when I was screaming that they should fire Clay Helton.
Yeah.
I was screaming that the second they got Lincoln Riley, this changes everything.
No, you said
this
it's a program.
This is the only brand
turn on
that you just, if they're in it, people care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have to, you could be in, I don't know, pick a Boise, Idaho.
Yep.
Right? You don't need to know who Caleb Williams is. You don't need to know who Jordan Addison is, but you know what that uniform is. You know what that program is. You know what it means. And if they're in the championship game, people watch. Oregon and Washington and Utah can go beat the feathers off of each other. Nobody cares.
But I don't think you even have to go to Boise. I'm going to use this station as an example. We are a perfect example. How much attention have we paid to USC since Lincoln Riley got here? How much attention? It did feel like the switch went on the moment he got here. Now you're a little cautious. You're saying, okay, it's going to take some time. Don't expect big things in the first season, right? But then all of a sudden you're winning games and you get to a point where you got a game against UCLA and everybody's paying attention to this game. Wow, could SEN eventually, even though they got that one loss to Utah, can they get back to the Pac-12 championship? You are right that before any of this happened, there are certain franchises that the moment they get interesting again, everybody is watching. it's not a coincidence that they drew the highest audience and they sell out the place in the 11 years that they have, and obviously they're playing this game in Vegas. I don't think it's a coincidence. It is because of the USC brand.
Of course it is, and this is why if you're George Kalaikoff, forgive me if I got the last name wrong, he's commissioner of the Pac-12, you have to be horrified about what's about to happen. They're leaving, right? And when your Pac-12 championship game is Arizona State against Oregon, it's going to go right back to the way that it was before SC was good again, right? If it's anything even UCLA isn't doing this. UCLA in the Pac-12 championship game, they're not drawing a number like that. They've been in it before. They didn't draw a number like that. And you can see why they're so terrified of them walking out the door to the Big Ten, because Big Ten's going to draw an audience regardless. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin,
They
SC.
got brands.
They've got
real
brands.
brands.
The Pac-12 does not, and you can see why they're fighting like crazy to keep them in.
Yeah, and listen, it's kind of just the reality, right? We're coming to a point in college football where it's almost like these companies have to merge, because the SEC is the face of college football. And you know what the Big Ten needs? The Big Ten needs grabbing a couple, and the big school being USC, to come join its company. And now they feel like, you ever see this and it happens? I can't think of companies directly right now. There have been, hey, this is the number one company in this category, but 2 and 3 just merged so they can hang out with number one.
Yeah,
that's what they needed to do. I almost feel like that's what's happening with these conferences, right? That you have to take the best from another conference to be in the conversation with an SEC. And I'm not saying that the Big Ten, Ohio State and Michigan, those are real deal programs. The SEC is the class of college football. It's been the class of college football for a while.
Yep.
Once you get SC into the mix there, you're talking about, I know it's going to expand to 12. That's the cream of the crop for both of these conferences. So the Pac-12, you're right, they are kind of wondering, well, what do they do from here? I'll tell you what they become. They just become like many of those other conferences that are out there that are not the SEC and that are not the Big Ten.
They're the Mountain West. They're not even the Big 12. They're the Mountain West. They're
I want to go that low.
AAC.
Trust me, State is there.
Trust me, the State's going to join the Pac-12.
Well, I want the State. I want San Diego State to join the Pac-12.
But that's what I mean. It will have the same relevance as Air Force playing Wyoming. It'll be one of those, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, sure, if it's on, I'll watch it. And it'll be slightly better than that from a product perspective, because Washington's good, Oregon's good. Utah's really good.
But who knows? Maybe some. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They go and jump ship as well.
They should go to the Big 12. That's where they should go. That's the spot for those teams to go. Really good teams to a conference that's going to be better than the remnants of the Pac-12.
And you'll get into that 12 playoff championship.
Yeah,
There's
you win that
opportunities to get in there.
You will, for sure. Be the second best team in that conference, for sure you will.
Yeah.
So here's the other part. The odds were, the 4 Heisman finalists were announced yesterday. Caleb Williams is the heavy favorite to win this thing. It's still very likely that he wins it. And what we were talking about yesterday and what I suggested, I think, is about to become true. Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman Trophy on Saturday, and it's going to be hey, man, we're back. We're back. We got the Heisman Trophy, put it in the case with everybody else's, put it next to Leinart and Carson Palmer and everyone else that's wanted it.
Can I ask you a question? When you say we're back, are you saying that, look, everywhere you turn, you're seeing the University of Southern California? So you might not have made the college football playoff. Obviously, that loss was it was devastating because they also don't get to the Rose Bowl. However, you spent X amount of weeks talking about USC. You spent X amount of months talking about SC before the season started because Lincoln Riley came. You are now spending time when the highest honor to an individual in college football is being awarded, and it's SC again. Even it just being the conversation, but he most likely will win it. Is that what you're referring to?
That and the fact that the non-Rose Bowl appearance, the non-Final Four appearance, you can very quickly transition into, hey, we won the Heisman Trophy, and we're just getting started. It's really easy to turn the page on that once you're past it. Disappointing Friday night, Saturday morning for sure, but a week later, you're already on to the next thing. I don't think any Trojan fans really care about the Cotton Bowl. They'll either beat Tulane or they won't. Yeah. I don't think it really makes a huge difference. But what is interesting to me is what happens after that. When you get into next season, and they're going to be really good again next year, right? Caleb Williams is going to be back. Their best players will be back. What happens if you get through halfway through the season again, and you lose another game 47-45, and you just kind of shake it off, and you go through it again, and you get back to a Pac-12 championship game or even a Final Four game. Let's say you get in it, and you lose that game 45-38. that the same way that Lincoln Riley has lost at Oklahoma, the same way he lost in his first year at USC, is, hey, this is happening again. Because what happened to SC is literally exactly what had happened to him at Oklahoma. Really good players, really good teams, Heisman Trophy winning caliber players, and Heisman Trophy winners, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. He's got the formula down for that, but they lose a game or two every season, and they lose it almost exactly the same way, exactly the same time. They get blown out because they can't stop anybody. When does that become the topic?
When SC was trying to bring Lincoln Riley over, is it fair to say is whatever you want, whatever it is that you want, just come here. Forget the finances, this. He wants to bring his own coaching staff. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. Nobody's saying no to Lincoln Riley, correct? Just to get him in the door. Are there conversations this offseason where all of a sudden it's, people within the school and the university are saying there's a trend that comes with Lincoln Riley, and it's they don't play defense? At what point do you kind of, and I don't know how best to put this, if Lincoln Riley's not addressing that the team's got to be better on the defensive side, that they're not grabbing a top 5 defensive coordinator in the country. You don't have to have the best one, but can you get a top 10 defensive coordinator in the country? At what point is that on Lincoln Riley? Because I think it's on Lincoln Riley today.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think today, if you have another one of those seasons like you're talking about where you can't get any stops, you can't play defense, and it continues to hold you back, then God bless Lincoln Riley. But if you're not making adjustments from what the mistakes that you had in Oklahoma to the same mistakes here at USC, help me out with understanding how that's okay. How is that okay?
It's not okay, but it's the way that this is, you've heard me say, people do things all the time and expect it to be different. They do it the same way. It's like, I can't believe it happened. And they don't fix it. Once in a while, they will.
But we're idiots.
Of course. He's
all smart.
Are. Yeah, well, everybody's an idiot. Everybody does things. They all think they got the answers. We all do. You do, I do, Lincoln Riley does. And it takes somebody from the outside to come and say, hey, listen, you need help with this. You stink at this. You need to listen to me, and it needs to be somebody that you trust. And we'll see. Hopefully it happens sooner than later because they get a defense. Get ready. Because they're gonna go play with everybody.
But what you just said, if they get a defense, you're not winning unless that happens.
Yeah. Well, look at Georgia.
That's what I'm saying.
Georgia's entire defensive team is in the NFL.
They're gonna get stops. And as great as SC is on offense,
you got to get a stop. Let's try Richard in LA. Richard, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up, Richard?
How's it going, guys? First time caller, long time listener.
Thank you.
Great show. I just want to say, I heard you say Caleb Williams, the heavy favorite for the Heisman, deserves it, everything. That's great. But I want to know what makes him – I understand he's a great player and everything, but why doesn't Max Duggan get that kind of respect or that kind of look? He's still in the playoffs.
Yep.
He barely lost by 3 points to Kansas State in the championship. He does not have the 4 or 5 star players that Caleb Williams does, and he does not have a top 5 coach that he works with that he's with. So why doesn't Max Duggan get this kind of push or effort when he's at a lower school playing highly, great football right now, and he's still in the playoffs?
So it's a really good question, Richard, and you might not like the answer. And I'm not telling you this is fair or just. I'm telling you this is the answer why. Here is the list of where the Heisman Trophy winners have gone to school, and I'm just going backwards, starting with Bryce Young last year, okay? Notice that it's not all of them, but it's almost all of them. Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma, Louisville, a little bit different. Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Texas A&M, Baylor, a little bit different. Auburn, Alabama, Oklahoma, Florida, Ohio State, USC, Oklahoma, USC, Nebraska, Florida State. You got to go to one of those places. You don't win the Heisman Trophy at TCU. It's just the whole reason that I've been banging the drum for a year is there are programs that matter and there are programs that matter less. USC is on the tier of programs that matter. He has had the best season on the programs that matter. It's not fair. It's unjust, but you have to be so much better than everyone else to win it at a place like TCU or Baylor or Louisville like Lamar Jackson, that if you are at Alabama or USC or Ohio State, you always have an inherent
I'm not going to try to make an argument for either one of them because I have not seen any
Dugan's been great.
games this year other than this last one that they had. But I will say this, of all the schools that you just named off, what I'm curious about, usually an MVP in a sport, right? How is that team, how far did they go? Most of those schools that you just mentioned, I'm assuming won either the college football championship or they're in the mix of it.
You even want to get more. It's almost always the quarterback or running back on the best team in the country. Almost always.
So that's what's unique about what he just brought up is the fact that SC is not in that top four. The fact that TCU is, the fact that TCU almost ran the table, that there was success.
Let me ask you something.
Success with that school.
Who's got a better football team, TCU or USC?
I don't know.
Exactly. So that's why it's not clear cut.
Mm-hmm.
Your answer is probably a good one. I think as many people would say SC as they do TCU. I think it's probably pretty even. That's the point. That the deciding the kicker, the thing that puts it one way or the other, he plays for Alabama. He's got to be better than that kid. Because look, here's the other thing. The people that vote for these, they don't pay that close attention. They really don't. This is not something that you have to prove that you're breaking down TCU film 12 times a year. You can watch some highlight rips and make these decisions. That's why. I'm not saying to his point, he's right. That's a good case to be made. Look, Max Dugan, he might.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Mm-hmm. But when you're at SC, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, LSU,
spotlight's different.
Huge, huge advantage. AD, hot, supernova hot. When is it not hot and he's just back? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 7.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
The streaming platform conversation is one that is big apparently in the Rogers household last night, and we know producer Emily's fired up about it. And it went on most of the first hour of the show, which was glorious. But I'd like to play this clip.
Pandora doesn't even have any podcasts. Okay, so Alan,
So I don't use Pandora for podcasts. I use YouTube. I use YouTube.
Why do you use
Because
YouTube for podcasts?
This is unbelievable.
It's an audio medium.
By the way, you can get the show's podcast anytime on the new ESPNLA app, but you can also watch the show streaming live on YouTube, Slee's favorite platform. Watch Travis and Sliwa right now. Just go to YouTube, search ESPNLA. Travis and Sliwa continues your Tuesday right now.
I have a little bit of an update. Speaking of YouTube, so thank you for those who are listening and watching on the YouTube live stream for Travis and Sliwa show. So there's a poll that was put out in the message part of the YouTube stream today. So it was, what's the best podcast platform? And the categories were, and also, again, this is a skewed poll, podcast platform, not just music streaming platform. So it was, the categories were Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, YouTube, and it was...
I don't think, does Pandora do podcasts?
I have no idea.
They probably
no
do.
idea.
I don't know. Who cares? Is what I was gonna say.
Contempt came out again. Who cares?
But YouTube was winning at 55%. Obviously skewed because people who are listening or voting on this are on the YouTube. But Spotify was second with 31%. Apple Music got 10%. Then Pandora at 5%.
How's it feel being second?
Feels pretty great. But also it's just like podcasting on YouTube. I get it because I have watched podcasts that I like on YouTube if it's a special episode, but also Spotify, you can put it on and you can watch the podcast on Spotify too. They just introduced that feature, so I did that with the Always Sunny podcast. It was great.
Helen, are you ready to
have that
ditch
option?
your Pandora?
You have that option on
ready
Spotify.
To just bounce out of here and say
I
I'm
was
done with
unaware of
this?
that. I was unaware of that. Did not know that.
I picture you, Emily, like going home late tonight and you're in the kitchen, getting something to eat or whatnot, and just kind of muttering to yourself, like, I can't believe these people are listening to Apple Music and they're watching Spotify.
No, I could see her with a dry erase board and just putting reasons why Spotify, and she's starting to go through everything.
I'm just saying, it's also cleaner on social media platforms to share stuff from Spotify. Like, it looks better when you like, oh, I'm going to share what I'm listening to. Oh, I'm going to share this stuff. Spotify is made for social media. Apple Music, not necessarily.
Taylor?
That's your opinion, Emily.
I believe you. I believe you. I'll take your word for it.
Taylor, I feel like you have more to say on this, that you're being respectful of the group.
It looks cleaner. Like what? Who says that?
Somebody
Emily
who wants
says it.
you
Everybody
to just
says it.
find a reason to go to Spotify.
That's so subjective.
Have you ever shared stuff from Apple Music onto your
Listen,
Instagram
I know who my
stories?
Spotify friends are, and I'll send them a link on Spotify, to accommodate them.
Okay.
See?
I
He
know
just
who
wants
my
everybody to listen to podcasts.
no, music, not
and
podcasts.
music.
Just
yes.
music.
Yeah, Emily.
All right. Well, Taylor, I will send you Apple Music stuff specifically for you now.
Appreciate that. Thank
We're all getting along much better.
I love
Sounds
this.
peaceful to me.
We're all just kind of coming together in the streaming wars. I feel like this is some sort of weird episode that we've created, and I love it.
Does Spotify have like a color? Like if you wear a certain color,
It's green.
that's Spotify?
Is it really?
Black and green is Spotify.
Yeah. Like
There's an answer.
Black and green. Who's played the Celtics? Kind of sometimes. Every once in a while, they'll throw on that black uniform. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, could be.
A's, I think, had a black jersey back in the day. I don't know. All right. What time you start today? 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock pregame.
3 o'clock pregame.
Lakers, Cavs.
Would imagine not the
tomorrow.
Raptors.
Tomorrow, you're fine. You're fine. It's just everything. You're hold it till tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow
hold
I'm
it
going
to
to be talking
tomorrow.
about Donovan Mitchell in the glory days of Larry Nance and Brad Daugherty. So AD was player of the week, right? I think he was.
Yeah, player of the week.
And so he's player of the week. He's got to be on the short list of MVP candidates at this point. He's been terrific for the last 3 weeks or so, 10 games, however you want to quantify it. And I guess I'll just use myself as the example. Emily, anecdotal evidence is what that is called. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm hoping that it doesn't, but having been through the last 2 seasons, having seen him get hurt over and over and over again, I'm a little cringy every time I see him go to the basket, every time I see him jump or whatever. I keep waiting for that, oh man, it just happened again. How long do we have to go through that before it's like, you know what? He is back. He is with Giannis and Jokic and Embiid and Luka and the best players in the league. Because I don't know if it's just because it's familiar. He feels like he's been around a long time. He's still a very young NBA player.
29 years old.
29
10 years
old.
in the league. Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be ludicrous for him to be among the best players in the league for several years in a row at this point in his life, had we not seen the previous years where he's hurt all the time. When can I fully reinvest in Anthony Davis?
So I will tell you this. When the season started, I was with you with the whole – there were times – remember he was having those lower back issues?
Just the way he'd walk.
And so there were times where he's on the floor. You're kind of, all right, is AD healthy? Does he already have injuries? And this started in preseason. I think he missed a preseason game because of some lower back tightness.
Yeah,
something
just
like
precautionary
that.
measures.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
But as the season has gone on, knock on wood on this one, I'm not thinking of that the way I used to. And maybe it's the stretch of 10 games. Maybe it's the fact that he's playing such great basketball. Maybe because, Trav, it's not like a lot of his work is – he's never going to be Joel Embiid or Shaquille O'Neal. That's not his game. He's not going to be Giannis where he's trying to get to the basket every single play. He's a skilled big man. Tim Duncan didn't have to power through.
No.
He's going to hit that 15-foot jump shot off the glass. He was going to – there's certain plays you don't have to play that style. So to answer your question about how long do you have to go till you start thinking to yourself, hey, he's got a real potential chance of an MVP candidate. I'm not thinking of the injuries. I'm not. And I think, maybe this is just me, and for other Laker fans it's different. But I think for him to be in an MVP conversation, the games played, that's got to be a given, right? You play 70 games. You have to. You're just not going to be in that conversation unless you do. I think the other piece of it is, look, if he goes through December and by the time you get to January 1st, he's still playing like this, I'm sold again, right? That's enough basketball.
That's unreasonable.
That's enough basketball versus a lot of tough opponents where you're playing on the road, you're playing at home. That's enough to say, okay, well, why would something change where now all of a sudden he's going to go back to his 22-9? I'd be incredibly disappointed if that happened. I think the rest of this month for me, you got so many tough games coming up. You got a lot of good competition. Is enough for me to sell me on, hey, he could do this for the entire season.
I want to see it through the end of the year, and I know that that's a lot to ask. That's a ton that we're even talking about it as a possibility is really remarkable.
It's great news.
It's terrific
it's great
news. But I'm going to be slow to buy this. I'm going to be slow to get back on board with it. I'm going to enjoy it for as long as it lasts. But until we get into, like, for instance, let's just say run the tape forward. And we are at the middle of April, and the Lakers are in the playoff spot. They've either won the play-in tournament or they finished in the top 6. They didn't even have to mess around with it. And they're going to start the playoffs. And Anthony Davis has been doing this or something near this for the last 3 or 4 months. I'm in. There's no reason not to expect it to continue at that point. But I just have this terrible gnawing feeling in my chest of, you don't buy in too soon because you know what can happen because we've just seen it over and over again. I'd love to be wrong, but I'm so cautious when it comes to him.
Can I get, by the way, and that's okay. You've just watched 2 straight years of him playing half the season, so I understand where you're coming from. Can I give you something? So what's the date today?
6.
Today's the 6th. So Kia MVP ladder they do on NBA.com.
Okay.
And they're just kind of continuing, hey, here's who we think. They put their top 5. This was December 3rd. So I believe that's before, I think you still got Friday's game in, right? Got Friday's game in. Today's Tuesday. I think you got one of those games.
Yeah.
I think you got Friday's game in. You didn't get his 55 against the Wizards. Where do you think AD is on this NBA.com list?
It's an MVP ladder.
An MVP ladder. So they're ranking their top 5, and then there's some after that.
We're including the Bucks and not including the Bullets.
Wizards.
6.
So it's kind of funny. And I have not looked at this. First time I've looked at it. He's not on that list of top 10.
Okay. Yeah.
On top 10.
Yeah. I think they're more in my camp, right? They're more like, okay, great week, great 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not quite ready to
well,
sign up.
and this I'm not going to argue. Tatum's number 1, and they got the best record in the NBA. Luka and Jokic are tied after that. Giannis is on that list. Devin Booker's on that list, best record in the Western Conference. So there probably is some of that as well. Is your squad winning, or is it not? Lakers are 10-12.
The dump is coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of Americans fallen or disabled military and first responders. Event is taking place this Friday at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and purchase a green fee, just go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Special thanks to our partners, Johnny O, Meat District, and Travis Matthew.
During this holiday season, ESPNLA and Subaru are partnering with the Folds of Honor Foundation for our inaugural Long Drive-a-thon event. Proceeds raised will provide scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled military and first responders. Our Long Drive-a-thon event is taking place on Friday, December 9th at Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda. If you'd like to participate and support the Folds of Honor, go to blackgoldgolf.com. That's blackgoldgolf.com. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
It's time for the dump.
Happy birthday to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who turns 28 years old today. Obviously, a couple of MVPs and an NBA championship will make you front of mind. It feels like Giannis is a lot old, not because of his play, just because he's been a part of our NBA viewing lives for a long time. Giannis feels older than 28.
28 years old. Everything that he's already accomplished. I think the front runner when the dust settles to come out of the Eastern Conference will be the Bucks. It's kind of cool to see what he's accomplished. What was he picked? 14th? Something like that,
yeah.
He's picked further down the draft. He decides, I'm going to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. Doesn't care that, it's a smaller franchise. What an unbelievable accomplishment for somebody who just turned 28.
That's your wildest dreams with a draft pick at that point, right? That you get a player. That's not even fair. That's above and beyond your wildest dream at 14 is I can get a player who's going to start for me for a very long time and maybe make an all-star team or two. That's your wildest dream. But to have a Hall of Fame, generational, transcendent, one in a million sort of guy, and you just said, I think I see something.
Well, can I tell you something too? it's not like he was so raw coming into the league.
Yeah,
there's
and
still
skinny.
areas of his game.
And skinny.
We had, I forget who it was. We had somebody who covers the Bucks for The Athletic, the game the Lakers played on Friday. Okay, and he was talking about how, look, there's a lot of teams still kind of hang off of him. In a league that's all about shooting and jumpers, it's not like he has a jumper. He's still dropping 40. So it's like you know exactly what he's going to do, and there's still no way to stop it. He takes, I'm not kidding, from half court, he takes, I think, a step and a half.
It's insane.
And he's in front of the basket.
It's insane. So today is the day, back in 1997, December 6th, 1997, that the movie As Good As It Gets comes out. Why are we talking about that? Because Emily put it in there as that's the movie that my barber says that I look like Jack Nicholson in. I believe he's like 60-something in that movie. Doesn't make me feel super great.
He looks good in that movie. What are you talking about? He's fine.
No, I don't think so.
He's grumpy.
I'm okay with the grumpy.
But he's
I don't look like
fine.
a 60-year-old. I'm not in my 60s. It feels aggressive.
You know, I saw that movie within the last, let's say, year or so. Never seen it. Not a bad movie. Thought it was okay.
Is
I
that?
think a lot of people hate it.
Is it Helen Hunt?
Yeah, Helen Hunt.
Yeah, I don't think I don't see a lot of movies. Sleep.
Cuba Gooding Jr. is in it. Not a big role.
And a 60-year-old Jack Nicholson, who
And a
apparently
60-year-old
I
Jack.
have a
Yeah.
resemblance towards. It was today in 2010, December 6, 2010. The iconic LeBron James, Dwayne Wade photo with the arms out to the side, right? That took place today. You knew it. All I had to do was put my hands out on the side, and you knew what I'm talking about. Are there any of the just iconic sports? Because we were talking about this morning. The one I think of, like, iconic sports photograph is Ali knocking out Sonny Liston with his arm across his chest like that. Anything that pops into your head?
Well, localize it. Is there one for you with the Dodgers?
Well, okay, that's a moment, but not a photograph. Like the Gibson moment for sure, but it's kind of all of it. It's the lead up, it's the home run, it's the pumping of the fist, it's the hand over the head.
Yeah.
I don't think my first thing I think of is not the picture with his fist over his head.
Can I give you one that, again, I'm with you. I don't think it's iconic, but the Kobe Shaq alley-oop against the Blazers, it's Shaq pointing.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of photos of Shaq pointing up. Give you one more. When Ori hits the shot against the Sacramento Kings.
Anything that's not Laker related.
let me finish. This is an iconic one.
I got
here.
one.
Iconic one here. The Ori hitting the shot where he's staring at everybody. Everybody's talking to him. He's like, do you know who the hell I am?
Does somebody in Des Moines, Iowa know that shot that you're talking about?
No.
That's
This
the
guy does.
test.
No.
Yeah, what do you got, Taylor?
I like Ali underwater boxing, and then I like the one where Dennis Rodman is going for a loose ball. And he's just completely sprawled out.
He's basically in the air,
his
completely
whole body's
in the air.
in the air.
Oh, I do know that. You know what else I was thinking when you said fist in the air? Tommy Smith and John Carlos at the 68 Olympics, they had their hands in the air.
Oh, yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
one that you don't even have to be a sports fan to know that one.
I'll tell you
along the way.
one. Somebody from Boise, I don't know, will know this one. When Slava, Medvedenko,
I'm gonna need to.
It was a Sunday. Sunday game 9
knocked
of
down a
the
jumper
regular
that
season. No, he had a free throw. But,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Just another reason to get fired up for the Rams and the Broncos on Christmas, Lee. Rams and Broncos is the Nickelodeon game. It is Christmas Day, and it will be called Nickmas, where they do the slime in the end zones and all those sorts of things.
You ever watched one of those, like at all, tuned into it, tuned out?
No, because I'm almost always working when they do it.
Yeah.
So I don't get really a chance to do it. But I love the idea of trying to sell football to younger kids that may not watch it otherwise. But I don't know if Rams Broncos is the game that you're going to try to sell them.
Abort mission.
Yeah,
This is
it's
the
not
example of trying to sell you that beer at age 16. The NFL is trying to get the kids in.
Did you think I was kidding when I said that they used to give out free cigarettes at NASCAR races when it was the Winston Cup?
No, I don't.
Free cigarettes. Come on in, Slee.
I
want
believe
a carton?
it. I believe it.
Get you started right away. Why not? Let's do a little Supercross talk.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begin. It's time for Super Crosstalk.
I was really excited to make that announcement, but that you have a prior commitment kind of bums me out. We wanted to ask Mace tomorrow.
I want to do it.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay.
What time? What time would it be?
It would be
10:45.
10:45.
So maybe do it. I'd be driving in. You have to like risk the potential drop off over by Dodger Stadium.
So is the idea to get somebody here to be able to do it?
Not necessarily here, but just a good connection. You want
Someone that we think listeners will, obviously enjoy. They'll definitely want to ask you guys questions.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll take a shot.
Ask Momo. Ask Momo. 10:45 tomorrow.
Ask Momo. 10:45 tomorrow. And if Ramona, it's your segment, so you can do whatever you want. But if I would prefer if there were no NBA questions allowed. I would like to know more about you and your.
It's not like
life.
I don't ever share anything on the air.
True. That's what I mean.
I'm a bit of an oversharer.
Because they will come with NBA insider questions.
Yeah.
I might come with NBA insider questions.
You can do that. So what's the story on? Now I'm an
lot
Apple
going
Music.
on. Yeah, a lot going on here, buddy.
Right, and I don't even understand
It's a war
what
in here.
Spotify does that Apple
Me too.
Music does not.
Do you understand the genesis
Podcasts.
of this battle?
Well, I know that Emily is a fierce supporter of
word.
Spotify.
Yes.
Like she may be getting paid by the people who
So
run
Could be.
Spotify.
I
She
thought
could
it was
be.
just that Emily had this very strong preference towards Spotify.
Yeah.
But I was in the car last night with my youngest and my wife, and it was like an argument by proxy where Al was Susan and my youngest son was Emily, because when Susan said she wanted to listen to Pandora, he lost his mind. It's
Lost his mind.
Like, what do you mean? I don't want to listen to Pandora. You can't choose the music. You don't get to pick the songs. And he just went on this rant. It was like, why do you care how your mother listens to her music? Why is this important?
Am I unusual that I've never even used Spotify?
It never.
I don't know what I know. Like my podcast goes up on Spotify. I know that, and they have a great podcast platform and all that stuff. I never listen to Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does that Apple Music doesn't.
Just FYI, when she's done, it might be about 1:35, so it might leak in the first segment.
I'll try to be concise. So Spotify has everything all together.
Okay.
So it has your music, it has audiobooks, and it has podcasts in one app together. You don't have to have multiple apps.
Right.
You can also stream. So they have video of the podcast now that you can have for Spotify. So everything's
YouTube
in one.
does as well. Just ahead.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Everything's in
YouTube as
one.
well.
Yeah. But then for Apple, you have to have your Apple Podcast app and you have your Apple Music app.
Yes,
Personally,
right.
the
That
Apple
is correct.
Podcast app does not work well for me. It just is slow. It does not, load fast enough. It's just not as intuitive.
So
as
I'm
Spotify.
with Parker and DeAndre and
Taylor.
Who else?
Taylor.
I'm Apple.
You know what I
Music.
think also is that the Apple Podcast app is native to the iPhone. You don't have to do anything to get
It's
it.
there.
It's just there. All you have to do is type in Culture Pop Podcast, and there it is.
There it is.
And you don't have to pay extra for it, and here it is. And Spotify, it just seems like there's like one or two extra steps that I have to do that I don't need to want to do when I already
this
have
will break
one.
down the gender
Oh no, it's a gender thing.
Emily had a
Just
theory
anecdotal.
that Spotify was trended more female and Apple Music was more male, but you're not following.
I'm an
into-
Apple. Can I download songs onto my iPhone from Spotify?
Yes, you can.
See,
Okay.
here's the thing.
That makes sense too.
You
Okay,
don't really
that's-
need to download songs
It's just
anymore
there.
because I can say I can hit
Yeah.
the button on my phone, say play this
Yeah.
song,
And it's there.
Well, if you're in
it's
an
already
area
there.
Well, it's
without
because you have
internet.
Apple Music though, because you're
Yeah,
a
I have
subscriber.
Apple Music, right.
So if you weren't a subscriber to that, then you wouldn't.
Then you'd have to
do
go to
that.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
But you have to
pay for it.
subscribe to Spotify
Yeah.
too.
No, that
Yeah.
brand loyalty though thing is interesting. Like for example, have you ever gotten into the debate? Who are you? Is anybody Android here? Do we have anybody
I can't
Android?
deal with you people.
Nobody
Yeah.
Android. What? You're pointing to one person.
Well,
Who
he
is
has
it?
a new phone.
I literally just got
Oh,
Why
you're-
would you do that?
the
You're
Google
the lone
Pixel.
and you got the Google Pixel.
Got
I
the
always
Google
wondered
Pixel.
who got Google Pixel. I see
Now-
the commercials. I've never known
now you
anybody
know.
that has a Google Pixel phone.
Me
I've
neither.
had it for 24 hours.
Yeah, how is it?
Good. Figuring it all out. Yesterday when I
Why
first
would you do it though?
That's
Was it
the
like
question.
a good deal, or do you just want to tick
I-
off all your friends on group text, or
I
what?
wanted to just try something different. That's all I've had. I mean, since BlackBerry I think was the phone that I had before
Yeah,
getting
BlackBerry.
an iPhone.
Yeah.
And decided, let me try something different.
So the one thing I know you can do is you can take a picture, then you can erase people. That's the one thing I get from all their commercials. Have you done that yet? The commercials are all like, we took a picture and there's some Bobo in the background photobombing. You can just erase them and just hide the
Supposedly
picture.
there's something new you can do on the iPhone too.
The most important thing for me was
Ramona,
get OpenPath so I can get into the door.
You're exactly right. So you can the feature that you're describing, Mace. It's on the iPhone.
It's on the iPhone, too?
It's maybe not quite as effective, but you can remove the background from an iPhone. I don't know if you can take out like individual objects, but you can get what you want in, keep that, and the background is gone.
So
I found it by accident.
I have fierce brand loyalty to Apple. Like I have everything Apple. You know, I have a MacBook Pro.
AirPods.
I've got my phone. I've got my earbuds. I've got all that stuff is Apple. So for me, I just want everything to be all from the same company.
And it all works together. There's no concern about making sure that this talks to that.
Exactly.
When it all comes, and I don't know why this matters to me. I'm guessing it does to you because you mentioned it.
Yep.
I hate that green bubble.
Yeah, the green bubble
me too.
annoys
The
me.
green bubble is the worst.
And then you can't send like videos to people who have
The emojis
other
are slightly
You can't airdrop stuff. Can you airdrop?
I haven't run into any of this. Ask me in a week, and I'll let you know
you're gonna
how
find
it's
out.
going
You're
with the
gonna
phone.
find out. So you're either odd or a trailblazer. It's one of those two. Either Slee is leading the way to the Pixel phone, or
I was actually.
weird...
I will say this. I was ready to just go get the iPhone 14. Just simple, right?
Yeah, right.
What changed your mind?
So I went to Verizon. I had to do. I had to get my phone released so then I could keep the number. Long story. I still had the same phone from back there. So I'm at the Verizon store, and this was a couple weeks ago. I didn't make the purchase right away, and the guy basically just said, "Look, the iPhone is the best brand out there.
Yes.
It's the best marketing. It's the best this. It's the best that. But the better phones are the other phones." And he was just kind of walking me through what the other phones have, and that some of the parts that the iPhone has, they're purchasing parts from. They're getting it sold, I think, from the Android and some of these other whatever it is, camera stuff. So I just kind of listened to the conversation. It's not like he has a. It doesn't matter if I was getting it through him or not, so it's not like he had any incentive. I actually got the phone directly through Google Fi, is I think the way they do it.
Yeah.
Got it directly to them. So it doesn't matter to him.
But it's still going to come in green, right?
It's still going to come in green. The bubble's going to be green. The chat bubble will be green.
It's started in our group chat already.
Probably.
We like the blue bubble people. The blue bubble. We're all, unanimous on that. And
You're not
your
one of us
bubbles are going to be green.
I think you guys should never text me back if I text you just because of it.
What is that? Why is that? Because I'm with you. I hate the green
Oh,
bubble.
the green
but
bubbles are
why is
terrible.
that so aggressively intrusive? Because it is.
It is.
Like you see, you're like, ugh.
It
gross.
does feel like you're not one of us. though.
Gross.
You're not one of us.
I'm on an island.
Yeah.
Why? What is that? What is that?
Why can't Google do something about that?
Just
Why
made
can't they have a bubble like everybody
Well,
else?
they do
Why
that
do
on
they have
purpose
to
to
have a
make
green
you
bubble?
buy iPhones.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not in their best interest.
What a monopoly.
To let everyone else in on their blue bubbles.
Yeah, I thought it was a fascinating conversation. I like the idea that women like Spotify, men like Apple Music.
And the quote, probably the best quote of the day.
Parker's quote was, "I'm an Apple guy with a Pandora vibe."
That's great.
No,
that is perfect.
go one quote earlier on
now,
Taylor.
Sophia had this to say about Taylor, which was doesn't know anything about music and is unhinged.
Said that about Taylor?
About Taylor
I have
Smith.
watched
The nicest
Taylor
guy.
perform
The nicest
music.
guy here at this radio
I've
station.
seen him play the fiddle
If you had
down
to
in...
pick one person in this 710 company that you said, okay, who's my bet to know the most about music? It's him, right?
Absolutely, it's him. He can actually play it. Can anybody else here play an instrument?
This is the rhetoric from Spotify
Mario knows
users.
a lot about music. Mario knows.
Mario's up there for
Okay,
sure.
yeah,
Mario's
okay.
good.
Yeah, Mario definitely.
Mario's good.
Mario's a good choice. Can
Yeah.
you play an instrument, Ramona?
Not even close.
God,
I play the clarinet.
Me too.
I played the guitar briefly, but I could only play Eagles songs because they're 3 chords, right? So you
Okay.
can always play an Eagles song because it's only 3 chords.
Did you just gave it up because you got tired
Gave
of
it
Glenn
up.
Fry?
No, you want to know the actual story? So I was dating this. This was the last woman I dated. We broke up, and she took my guitar with her. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done with the guitar.
I'm done with
She
music.
took my dog. She took my guitar.
Which were you more upset about?
Dog.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah,
It's like a
dog.
country music song.
It is. She took my dog. She took my guitar.
She had to leave you some debts or something something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something that she left behind that you didn't want. That's
Yeah.
the last element of the country music song. All right, Lakers play again tonight.
Yeah.
3:00 pregame show, Al?
3 o'clock pre. Tip off at 4:30.
What do you got planned? What's big today?
Hey, look, we're won 8 of their last 10.
Yeah.
Can AD keep it up? Cavs are actually a good team. They're very good.
Yeah, they're a little short right now.
All right,
Dean
who are
Wade
they
is
missing?
hurt, and Jared Allen's hurt, so it's going to be another Anthony Davis.
So is Jared
monster.
Allen not going to play?
I don't think so.
Take. By the way, is what it is, and they had the same thing with Bradley Beal. The Lakers have missed guys too this year. You get a chance to take advantage of it. Take
no
advantage
excuses.
of it. Nothing you
take
can do.
advantage of teams when they're banged up.
Yeah,
right. Emily, can we go with that? Are you going to send it to me, or what are we doing here?
Okay. There's something interesting happening.
Yeah, something. I'm waiting for the text to come through here. Emily, help me if I get this wrong. Go ahead. If you have it in front of you,
I'll
you
have
read
it right here. So
the green
per
bubble.
Ian Rappaport, the Rams have claimed QB
There
Baker
it is.
Mayfield per Tom Pelissero.
There it is.
At a depth with Matthew Stafford on IR, Mayfield has a chance for a fresh start under Sean McVay.
For 5 games.
or longer. And not that he's going to replace Stafford. Stafford blows Mayfield
By the
out
way,
of the
and
water.
I said this earlier to Bergman. I was like, well, maybe he is auditioning to be our backup quarterback for next year.
And by the way, is the best case scenario if you're backup quarterback, a former starter in the league.
Yep.
Who, look, Baker Mayfield obviously has not lived up to the number 1 draft pick overall status.
Yep.
He can play NFL football.
Sure.
He can go out there and run an NFL offense.
He's got real experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I always wondered about that. Most teams carry, I was thinking of New Orleans. They went to Andy Dalton. Most teams carry a former starter as their backup quarterback. And we've always carried Wolford as our backup guy. This potentially could be our backup quarterback for next year moving forward.
So Adam Schefter says that all of the things that we're talking about are a part of this as well, but that if he does play well or he signs elsewhere this offseason, the Rams could potentially get a compensatory draft pick. So this could be a little three-dimensional chess here where you get a pick back.
Get a pick out of it.
I don't hate it. Look,
No.
I've seen John Wolford. Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than John Wolford.
Wolford had a good day the
Baker
other
Mayfield's
day.
a better quarterback than Bryce Perkins.
Yes.
What's the downside?
Bryce Perkins, by the way, Bergman asked me, well, what about Bryce Perkins? Why isn't he playing? He's fun to watch. I'm interested, but I don't believe that he is an NFL
super
quarterback.
green.
Yeah.
He's super green.
Yeah.
But wasn't that the idea? Just take a chance on something you're not sure what you're going to get?
100%. But the rub is that he's on the roster. He takes a spot. That this is a player that you could have used another offensive lineman, another linebacker, another pass rusher, another secondary guy. That he's got a spot.
You know what though? I don't hate this in the sense that they're not winning anything this year.
Right.
Okay. And so what this does though is all the guys that are out there playing, Bobby Wagner, he's all fired up, right?
Sure.
And Jalen Ramsey. This gives them a better chance to win each time.
Yes, for
And
sure.
they deserve that. You deserve a better chance to win each game right now. If you're a veteran out there that's still trying and playing hard.
I don't know what the economics of it are. Well, I can't imagine it's that
Well,
big of a deal.
I mean, if they claimed him,
waivers.
it's a
Right.
million. Million two or something for the rest
What's
of the
the
season.
downside? You play. Let's say he plays really well. Let's say Sean McVay sprinkles some McVay dust on him. He looks really. He either now you got a backup quarterback like we're talking about, or somebody else comes in and says, "Hey, we'll take
a
this
chance
guy.
on Baker Mayfield."
And you get something there. I don't. It sucks for
I mean,
John Wolford.
okay,
It
so if he
sucks for
goes in
Bryce
there
Perkins.
if he goes in there and is not as a distraction or whatever, well, whatever, they lose some more. They're already losing,
right?
And they cut him again.
We were talking about this yesterday. I think he has kind of a negative connotation around the league. You
I don't
don't
get
feel
that.
like he does he?
Oh, yeah,
I think he does.
Yeah, I think he does. Why,
Oh, 100% he does.
Why? That's the funny thing. I don't know if I could even really
I think there
pinpoint
was
it,
a
but I think he
sense
does
that,
have a negative connotation.
He was very unpopular in Cleveland, and especially in that locker room. Nobody shed a tear when he left and wanted to go. And then there was also this sense with him of a sense of entitlement, like you haven't done enough in the league to act as cocky as he did or act as entitled or whatever it was. Now, I don't know if it's true. I don't know. I mean, that's the impression we all have. What he did to Odell and the way that played out, that
didn't work
relationship.
great.
Yeah, that was bad.
That reflected poorly on him is the right way to put it. Hey,
and by the way, if you can't play quarterback in Carolina, where can you play quarterback? Right? I mean, it's a terrible team. If you can't succeed there, where can you succeed?
He's had problems with accuracy, and the only good year he had was when they had a great offensive line in Cleveland.
That's
not going to find that here.
That doesn't track.
That's not going to be good for him here.
I just don't get the part about the locker room. Maybe I don't know. I haven't been in the locker room. I can't speak to that. But it feels to me that he's got a negative connotation because he's on TV a lot and he's got a Nissan commercial. He's got a Progressive commercial. Like he's front and center. I get why Peyton Manning is. not so much Baker Mayfield, but is that his fault?
Well,
that
you know what?
Big companies wanted to put him on TV.
You know why he is? What's the one where he lives in the Cleveland Stadium?
It's Progressive.
What's that?
That's
Progressive.
insurance,
It's a great spot.
You know what? Those are really
They're
funny
funny.
commercials.
They
I
are
really
funny.
like those.
He's
He
good
was
in the
number one.
Heisman house, too.
He was a surprise #1 pick, and was a star of Hard Knocks that year. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so he got a lot of press before he did anything. So when you have a oversell, underdeliver situation, and you're a little cocky, and you've got a little, he gets into it in a lot of interviews. There's been a lot of bad press conferences that he's had, and
Bring him
prickly.
in. Bring him in.
New
There's
start.
very, very little downside, and if you find something, you find something.
Yeah.
If you're not named Bryce Perkins and you're not named
they're-
John Wolford,
what's the record right now? 3-9.
3-9.
3-9. Lost 6 in a row.
Yeah,
How many
6 in a row.
do you think they finish with? Wins.
I think they win. It starts with an F.
Yeah,
It's either 4 or 5.
By 4.
I think they beat Denver. I think that's
they
4.
definitely are going to beat Denver.
So there's 4.
Yep.
Where's the 5th?
One upset.
Okay.
Yeah, one upset.
I'll sign up for that.
Yeah.
You guys,
What?
I got some big news here.
Oh,
Greg,
no.
Jorge,
Big news?
I pulled it off.
You pulled what off?
I got the Momo chain on around the horn.
The Momo chain you got on around the horn.
I just texted it to you.
So you saw we made chains
Yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody on the show with our names. John Ireland has a J-I and Jorge has a Jorge. You've got your name. Bergman is CG, Corporate Greg. Mine is Mace. We gave Momo one. And Momo has got her chain.
It went national.
I did it in the pre-show. Okay, it's
Yeah,
a pre-show,
sure.
but it's on Twitter right now.
It went
nice,
national.
nice.
I sent it to you.
Awesome.
Terrific.
It's in the
big
pre-show.
time.
So I did it super. It was actually not planned, but I remembered to bring it to when I was on Around the Horn today. And as I was fiddling around looking for something in my purse, some Israel Gutierrez says, "Oh, it's like that whole thing you trying to find something in your purse reminded me of that scene from Seinfeld or something." I forget what he said. And like, what's in so and so's purse? And I was like, well, I was just looking for some lip gloss, but I actually do have something kind of funny in my purse. And I pulled out the Momo chain, right? And I was like, and I told him how it was a radio bit, and I said, it's like, what is it, Jason of Culver City or Jared of Culver?
Well, who's the? It's
Jared?
Justin of Beverly Hills.
Justin of Beverly Hills.
okay.
I didn't quite get your
Kind
line
of
right.
kind of a down, a down version of Jason of Beverly Hills.
But I
You
was
went
like,
to
this is a
Justin of
radio
Beverly
bit,
Hills.
Justin
like,
of Garden
so they
Grove.
made me a Momo chain. It's
Juan.
from,
Awesome.
Jared of Beverly
Juan
Hills.
of Beverly Hills.
The only thing is, I don't think I said your name.
Oh, it's okay.
I just said it's a radio
I
bit.
love it. I love
I
it.
actually pulled it off. It was super.
It's awesome.
It was
Oh
super,
no, it was
like,
supposed to be with the Mason
in
and
the
Ireland
flow
show.
of the conversation.
Yeah.
You should wear a different one each time you go on. Wear the Momo, wear the Ireland, wear the Mace, wear the
Corporate
Jorge,
Greg.
wear Corporate Greg. Just kind of, that could be your signature.
It's like a pre-show thing. Okay.
Yeah. Woody has his little chalkboard.
The only
and
thing
you
is I
could have
couldn't
your
find the
thing.
actual chain, so I had to put it on another necklace of mine, and I just held it up. You'll see.
Okay. I'm gonna look for it.
I love it. Baker Mayfield is a ram. Mason and Ireland coming up next. Momo's in for John. We'll see you tomorrow.
Day to day.